sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules.
Guess everything's all ready. Everything's set to go. Let me just get these video all. Oh god, I don't like that. I don't like to hear that sound. All right, let's get out. Let's get off Opera GX. We don't need that right now. Um, so how's everyone doing? Everyone's doing good. Everyone's doing good. Uh, everyone's doing fine. Okay. Yeah, I had 59. It's at 59. Someone unsubscribed, so I went back down to 59. So I'm at 59 right now. I have some videos going to react to after this, but right now I guess we can react to what we need to react to, which is the freaking videos I was going to talk about. Okay. So, yeah, that's how a video is. Okay, so what we're going to react to is two planned videos I had from Bounds Magic. One of them was basically, well, I already gave the hints out like on my community tab, so you already know what's gonna happen. Um, hold on a second. All right, so basically, what's going to happen? We have two videos we watched. I downloaded 5 videos that belong to Balance Magic, which were AOT and Joker 2 videos. As you know, as you know, I've actually finished Joker 2 like last week. But I think like if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was last week. Wait, hold on. When was the last time I streamed? Okay, I would say 2 weeks ago, around there. Good guess. So yeah, last time I react to this was 2 weeks ago. Obviously, recently, Brown Magic is doing Breaking Bad reviews, so I can't really react to them. Haven't finished the show, so I can't really react to Breaking Bad reviews. But we're gonna react to the Joker 2 and Aaron video with what when media is ruined to preach to the audience. That's the first one, and then the second one, which is the Moist Critical one, where she is pretty bitter about Moist Critical's opinion on AOT. I had that already in my downloads. I already downloaded it. He was already gonna be. I gave out the hints on it like a couple of days ago about who I'm gonna stream about. So yeah, so we're gonna watch these two videos, and then I have some videos saved up on my YouTube. So we're gonna after that we're gonna go on Opera GX and watch some videos from there. But for now, let's start on these two videos. Get these ones over with. Get these two over with, and then we're gonna go on to my YouTube. Not go on to YouTube, watch some videos, and then after the end of the stream, we're gonna go on my anime list and start and I'm gonna go on my anime list and then update things. So, without further ado, let's start with the Joker 2 and Aaron when media is ruined to preach to the audience. Let's go.
Hey guys, this is a little bit of a quickie, okay? So I just finished
This is not a quickie. This is like 19 and a half minutes. It ain't no quickie.
watching Fantano's review of the Joker, and he made so many good points that I don't even know how.
Fantano? Oh, Anthony Fantano. I don't really watch him. I heard of him, but I don't really watch his content like that. He's for me he's more known for his music reviews than his movie reviews. I don't really watch him for his movie reviews. He's usually known for his music reviews and like album and talking about the albums and shit like that. Oh shit.
I missed out on. Obviously the way I interact with media is very like deep and very like I try to see what it's provoking in the reader, watcher, listener, whatever, music, shows, TV, books, everything, right? So, Fantano brought up a really good point that because I haven't been watching any online discourse about Joker at all. I just put out my 2 cents that I didn't fucking like it. And I thought the music was bad and so on and so forth. And I thought it was like a Lady Gaga concert featuring the Joker, right? Featuring Joaquin Phoenix. So Fantano brought up this really good point, and I guess it's not just a Fantano point, I guess it is like internet discourse, that the movie served as a fuck you to the incel community that fell in love with Joker.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that specifically, but I would say that Joker 2 was a fuck you. It was Joker 2 was a fuck you to the people who really liked the Joker in the first movie. I wouldn't go that far and say it's for the incels, whoa. But I would say Joker 2 is basically a fuck you. Joker 2 is basically a fuck you to the fans of the comic books or from the animated series. The popular depictions of Joker. I'll definitely say that's what it's a fuck you to. I don't know if it's a good idea to conflate that to incels, but whatever.
Now, this is very interesting because I agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I do think that Joker 2 was a big fuck you to the audience that preferred, that really liked the Joker that really liked the original Joker. Oh shit. 'Cause I gotta admit, Joaquin Phoenix performance in the Joker 1 was very good. I very liked the Joker in part 1, and many people thought when the second one was coming out, we're gonna see more of that type of Joker. But obviously that didn't go to plan, and then he had to try to ruin it by having like dual identities and shit. So yeah.
Everything you like about the Joker, right? How he inspires this group of men who are like, yeah, you know what? Fuck the rich, you know what? Like, fuck this shit. Like, we're the downtrodden of society and we're always looked over. We're never prioritized. We get bullied. Our mental health isn't taken seriously. And it creates a figure like the Joker, right? So that's what the original movie, that's what the first Joker, 2019, kind of meant to me. It was like, if you push a guy too far who already has mental illness, society has no warmth for these people. And then the mental health industry is obviously the mental health I don't even know what the word is, but the mental health infrastructure is very, 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 very awful, and very much so does not take people as seriously as it needs to. As you guys know, I work in the mental health industry. Industry is such a weird word for that. Anyway, so this immediately
Just say like you work in the mental health field or like the psychology field. Just say something like that.
reminded me of Attack on Titan for obvious reasons.
Obvious
I'll
reasons.
get there though. Let's finish talking about Joker. So in the Joker Do Foley or whatever, Joker finds a girlfriend, right? Harley Quinn. She's obsessed with this image of Joker, right? And even in the beginning of the movie, there's this little cartoon short where it's the Joker and then his reflection. His reflection is like this mischievous little thing, and he's trying to like stop his reflection from doing all these quirky little things. So it's basically just setting the tone for the movie that it's somebody like confronting their own identity. So Arthur and the Joker, well, Arthur Fleck is kind of deciding what role the Joker plays in his life. And he decides that, hey, I'm not the Joker. Like after he's triggered in the correct way, his lawyer kind of like says, I don't want to say says too much, but she does kind of trigger him by talking about his early traumatic childhood experiences. I think it was CSA and like just regular CA, child abuse. So it triggers him and it like,
Yeah, because basically what you're trying to do. Okay, let me just spell this gum. Because this gum's gonna very irritate me, my fucking tongue. What the lawyer was trying to do was basically have him plead insanity. What she was doing is basically prodding at his past, with him having getting beaten, him being adopted, and him being beaten by his mother's boyfriend and all that stuff, and him being like malnourished and shit like that. And obviously the origin to his mental health, where his mental condition, where he like laughs at shit to cope and stuff like that. So yeah, basically what his lawyer was trying to do is basically have him plead insanity, and say and kind of convince the jury that Arthur Fleck and the Joker are two separate people, or Joker is basically his different personality, or it's like his alter ego, some shit like that. While the prosecutor is trying to say that him and Arthur Fleck are one person, and Arthur Fleck was pretty not conscious, but he was well aware of his actions when he was doing the murder and shit like that. So that's the whole point of the whole lawyer shit, and why.
Splits him to the point of like no return, where he's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm actually not the Joker. I well, he tries, right? He tries to put on the makeup and puts on that performance, and he can't sell the performance. He has a crack, right? And then the officers beat him up in the bathroom and stuff. So he completely goes mask off the next time he's in court, because he represents himself.
Lawyer.
He fires his lawyer after it basically triggers him in the correct way, let's just say. So this movie served as a fuck you to the people who enjoyed the first movie, and I guess felt inspired or felt like they could relate or anything like that, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Because
No, I don't think anyone's looking to any aspire. I don't know where the fuck you got that from. No, the issue was they were looking for more. They were looking to see more of the Joker. That's the problem. The problem is that the Joker himself he barely appeared in Joker 2. And when he did appear, he appeared for like what, one, two scenes, and then he went back to Arthur Fleck. So that's the issue. The issue was that him being the Joker was such a good starting point. And then and then the issue was that obviously the Joker, people didn't want the Joker like that anymore. Not well, he didn't want to be like that anymore. That's the problem.
um where I can see and draw a line of connotation between like the incel community and the movie The Joker. Like, I see why people in that community would relate to the Joker.
No, I never heard anyone say I relate to Joker. That's just not true. I don't know where you get your sources from, but I never heard that's the reason why Joker 2 is bad. Many people think that the musical aspect was terrible, which I do agree. I do not like the musical aspect. I don't know why they had to make a musical aspect, but obviously Lady Gaga was going to be on the movie. They wanted to flex her talents, so why not make it a musical? No, that's not the problem. And then secondly, people had issues that was that he wasn't as people had issues that the Joker was essentially a puppet towards Harley Quinn, and obviously many people do like the comics accurate version better, to where he be the one manipulating Harley, something like that. So that's another issue that people had. So the biggest issue is basically that the musical aspects, and uh the whole inaccuracy of the comics and shit like that. And also the ending, because the ending kind of ruins it. Just kind of just it's just so the ending is just kind of anticlimactic. He just gets shanked and he dies. That's all. Like, come on, man.
Also, a lot of normal people liked it. A lot of normal people could relate to some of the things in the Joker. Obviously, not killing people and shit, right? But like just being downtrodden and overlooked in a society where there is a 1% who is kind of like skating by on quote quote easy mode. Everybody at some point has had their run in with like a situation where they were reminded that they're at a lower point in society than the 1%. Everybody's had a moment where they've confronted that. So many people have been bullied for, quirks or mental disabilities or things that they can't help about themselves, right? Like I think of my friend who has a stuttering problem. Or, you know, guys, it's like 2 a.m. Please give me grace. I'm trying really hard. I think of her, how, she was always made fun of. She was always bullied, and it's not like she could help it, right? And so his laughing outbursts kind of remind me like Tourette's or stuttering problems and stuff like
It's essentially Tourette's. His laughing, she's laughing condition is essentially Tourette's. He can't really control it.
that. So like a lot of different people can relate to the Joker. It's not just the incel
I don't,
community.
I don't care about relatability. The Joker was just good in the first movie, but hey, MC.
And this movie is kind of like a big fuck you to those people because it's like he denounces the Joker. He separates himself from the Joker, and all of his supporters abandon him at that point in time. Or like seemingly they do, right? His girlfriend
Well, that's not necessarily true. When there was that's not necessarily true. His supporters were still with him. Um, when the explosion happened in the courtroom, there was a couple of people who supported him that got him out of there. It's only Joker himself that escaped, that voluntarily got out the car and saw Harley Quinn and followed her until he got arrested again. So it was essentially Harley Quinn that said, "Fuck you, I'm out. You ain't the Joker that I know." Shit like that.
abandons him because she was also in love with the facade, the Joker, right? Like that, the symbol, the Joker, which he denounces. And at the end, it seems like his fans kind of come back to him and bomb him out of out of court and free him, but he goes back and he chooses to die rather than be the symbol, the joke.
He didn't choose to die. Literally, a guy came up and shanked him. He didn't choose to die. He got sneak attacked. That's not the same.
And I think that is a message to, the incel community or whatever. Like, hey, like your symbol is gone. Like, no.
He didn't choose to die. He got shanked. He got sneaked. He got freaking snuck up. He got snuck up on. The guy was telling okay. The guy was gonna. Someone was calling him, right? Someone said, "Hey, Joker. Not Joker. Arthur. There's someone that comes now. Someone that's coming in for you, right?" Then he was on his way there, and then there was one of the prisoners was telling him a joke about a psychopath and a clown, and he's like, "Oh, you get what you fucking deserve," and he shanked Arthur multiple times, and the guy started laughing while Arthur was bleeding out. So no, he didn't choose to die. He was just he was dying. He died on the floor. Oh my goodness.
You
So
can't
he
use
didn't choose to
him.
die.
And he chooses to be imprisoned, not to die. He gets killed to his own surprise.
So
I do
again, that's not him choosing to die though. He got surprised. So that's not him choosing to die.
wonder who that visitor was at the end of the movie, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? Um, and so all of this just reminded me of Attack on Titan because I
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's the meat and potatoes of all of this. Let's see. Let's see.
do genuinely think Isayama did a very similar thing with Eren. So there's a lot of people who say like, yeah, like Eren appealed to the incels and the
I've heard of that.
like edge lords and blah blah blah. And while that's obviously true, he does appeal to that group of people. There
He's been appealing to those school appeals since season one. That's not anything new. Aaron's been pretty edgy throughout the entire series, right? Not on entire series, but especially during the beginning, he was definitely edgy. So talking about how he's gonna kill Annie and shit like that. So he's been pretty edgy. It just that people only started seeing it now as it gone more as AOT's gone more mainstream. That's the problem.
Are normal, everyday people who can relate to being the victim of racism or feeling powerless, and like there's a fantasy of overcoming those powerless feelings and rising above it. And even though you're not the strongest one, you're trained up like the underdog finally being able to defend themselves, right? Like from a big powerful bully, right? It's like you can draw parallels to the Joker and to Aaron. And they both appeal to the incel communities. But that's not all that they appeal to. The story of the Joker and the story of Aaron Yeager appeal to regular everyday people, myself included. Like you like to create this big fuck you statement to try and distance a character away from like a alt-right community or like a incel or dangerous community. I understand why you're doing that, but at the same time, you're messing with the integrity of your story. When you think of the Joker, yeah, sure you may think of his like sad backstory, but what I think of first and foremost is this
That backstory is not even confirmed to be the actual backstory of the Joker. That's just many people's that's many people's popular interpretation, or many people's popular conclusion of what the Joker's backstory is. That, he had a wife, he had a pregnant wife, and obviously he was struggling with money. Then he was wearing the red hood, and he fell into this vat and shit like that. From what we know, there is no concrete Joker backstory. Just that it's just one writer's interpretation of what the backstory of the Joker could be, and then people kind of ran off of that and just said, "Hey, that's pretty official. That could be the official. It's a writer of DC, and DC approved of that writer. Then hey, that's probably the official backstory of Joker." But it was never there's not an official, the true official backstory of Joker. Is that many people? That's just many people's conclusions of which one that is, since that's the only one that we know that kind of explored the backstory of the Joker. But
character who plays with Batman, right? I think of this person who
and don't forget, also add that it adds what he talks about in the movie, talking about one bad day, right? And all that shit happened within one day. So yeah, then you went insane and shit like that. So
unapologetically leans into the facade of the Joker. And sure, 100% it's a facade because people aren't usually just born like evil or sadistic or psychotic, right?
oh, you never know. There's been people that are just born evil like that. You see, there's cases where children are just torturing animals and shit like that and then killing people. Trust me, there's child killers. They're just children that are just born evil. That's just the case. Sometimes we always like to assume that usually some children have some traumatic backstory and shit like that. But sometimes kids just sometimes people just fucking evil. Sometimes people just born evil. So
People aren't born that way usually.
yeah, big usually.
Like, so obviously he has some traumatic backstory that made him the way he is. But to strip him of that and make him denounce the Joker or whatever and show him in this completely vulnerable, like everyman sort of way, like to make him so much of a victim, to completely separate himself from the incel community or people who would empower themselves through their victimhood to justify doing atrocities to others. While it is like kind of understandable, it is kind of bastardizing the character. And I say the same for Eren from Attack on Titan. Isayama tried so hard to denounce him in the final chapter because, hey, I wrote a story about genocide and that's not politically correct. Hey, I wrote a story about genocide and there's these fans that are rooting for the genocide for like eugenics type of like reasons, right? Rather than people just appreciating the narrative of, okay, well, obviously under these written fictional circumstances, the most logical next step is the genocide to protect yourself. Like, if in a story that's written as kill or be killed, where it's genocide or be genocided, of course you're going to root for one side to complete the genocide against the other side. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the main character that you grew to love, right? And so Isayama then tried to completely bastardize Eren. Oh, I'm stupid. That's why I did this. Oh, there's no good reason to ever do something like this. I'm dumb. I'm an idiot. My brain was all messed up. And then he did not complete.
Which is also so stupid because throughout this series he had no issue with his memories to the point where he couldn't know from the past, he couldn't distinguish what's in the past, what's in the present, what's in the future. He had no issue with that at all. He was coherent and competent throughout the entire post time skip. So whenever I hear that bullshit, it's so stupid because it wasn't shown in the story. It wasn't shown prior to that fucking conclusion. So the setup wasn't there. So it just happened, and then you'd be like, huh? When did this fucking happen? There wasn't no, any hints of him getting confused or an event or two or some shit like that, or calling someone another person's name or some shit like that. Nothing. He had legit no issues. So that for him to say, "Oh, I couldn't really distinguish what was, I had all this going on at once. I didn't couldn't distinguish them." It's like, well, that's just stupid because there was no prior evidence towards you having any issue distinguishing what's the present, the future, or the past. You're pretty coherent throughout, and you seem to know everything about cause and effect because you basically saw this shit with all the freaking Vitaly Grisha to kill the Rice family and give you the tactite and all that shit. So he was pretty coherent and competent throughout the entire post time skip, and the fact that he just comes out and say that out of nowhere at the end and just like, no, that didn't make any sense.
The genocide in a very nonsensical way, right? Like, he gave up on purpose because of X, Y, and Z and all of this stupid shit. That's why Attack on Titan at the end does not make sense, and that's why it's not good. That's why Joker 2, Do Foley, whatever the fuck, is bad and does not make sense, and it's just not a good movie, not a good story. So it's kind of two sides of the same coin. My brain made the connection just now. It's 3 a.m. I just want to share that.
Is that it?
Yeah, when you try to speak directly to the audience or try to denounce a character that's written as morally gray, or that you're trying to write as, sympathetic and trying to make it make sense, and then you turn to the audience and try to preach to them just because the wrong crowd is rooting for your character for the wrong reasons, that's when you compromise the integrity of the story, and that's when you potentially end up with something that's not good. That's when you kind of bastardize your own character, and now not only did you piss off the incels, but you pissed off the people who cared about your characters as well, because hey, look, now this shit doesn't make sense at all. Joker 2 is a piece of shit because it's garbage. It's preachy. It's not good. The musical note was never gonna work. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what's so funny. When I heard it was gonna be a musical, I was like, I was so skeptical of it not working out, and it just did not. It had the timing of it. The beginning was fine because it was actually set up to why there'd be music in the prison and shit like that. But like in the courtroom when Harley was just kind of saying I'm pregnant, and then Elf was like what, and then she just jumped into song, kind of ignoring the whole his whole reaction. Just like that's just so out of place, man. I don't know. I feel like, again, that's why I understand how people say it's like it's just a Lady Gaga freaking promotion because that's essentially what it felt like.
worked for the first couple songs. Like, I even agree when Fantano said that. I think I said that in my own original video, that the first couple numbers made sense, but the rest of it was kind of like, this is getting old, this is bad. But to preach down to the incels like, hey, this is your hero. Well, watch me fuck them up. Like, literally, the Joker gets killed. Literally, Aaron gets killed, right? Like, you want to prop this person up to be your hero and justify your own sick and real life thoughts? Well, no, here in this movie, in this contained media, I'm going to strip them of everything they have. I'm going to show you just how pathetic they are. So you don't idolize this person who stands for the wrong thing. Like, preach, 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 condemn, condemn, condemn. We get it. Aaron Yeager in the real world would never work. Genocide in the real world is never good, never okay. But in the contained medias, it makes sense. Like in Attack on Titan, it's written as kill or be killed. It's written as genocide this group or be genocided with your own group. Any person who cares about their own life is going to preserve their life in a kill or kill be or kill in a kill or be killed situation. Guys, I need to go to sleep. Now the Joker's a little bit slightly different from that. It's like this guy who's been downtrodden, ignored, bullied all of his life. Kind of just reaches this breaking point and snaps, right? And people in that contained media, right, they relate to it. They're like, it's about time someone snaps. Someone's got to do something. Because we as a people have been ignored for so long. We've been walked over, trampled on. Like, the mental health system doesn't care about us. Like, all of this stuff. And so the Joker is kind of the symbol of, like, the lower class's frustration with the rich and with people in power who just ignore them. And again,
Yeah, and that's why,
a lot of people,
that's why I liked it better in the movie how Thomas Wayne got and Thomas and Martha was shot and killed, because obviously what freaking Thomas said about the people, I forgot calling them clowns, and then like, hey, you calling us clowns? Well, this clown's gonna kill you. Bam, bam, 2 shots, 2 shots to the parents. So yeah, instead of being in the comics, oh, they went into alleyway for some dumb reason. I don't fucking know why. No, but but in the movie, when Martha and Thomas went into the alleyway, it makes much more sense. First of all, they're freaking the public enemy #1, especially what Thomas said, and then obviously they don't want to get if you find out, recognize them, they're basically gonna get shot. So either way, they were basically dead. They were dead either way. So yeah. Oh, in the comics, oh my goodness. I know there's so many interpretations in the comics. Oh, this killer was actually this. I'm like, okay, man. This robber was actually this. He was working for this person. Or like, oh goodness.
fans of the Joker, a lot of fans of Attack on Titan, are just fans of these things and of these characters within the contained universe. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you
Oh,
bully.
don't understand. You don't understand, but when people are trying to freaking understand Aaron's actions, they'd be like, "Oh, you're just a genocider. You just want people." Like, it's like, oh my goodness. It's like, yeah, that's the whole point. You can definitely say why it's so preachy, because like it's basically saying, if you were on Aaron's side and understood his actions, if you were on Aaron's side, you were wrong and shit like that, and you're a bad person for thinking what Aaron's doing is correct from his perspective, shit like that. And people on Twitter would be on your ass if you tried to justify Aaron's actions or trying to understand his actions. Like, oh, you're just a supporter. It's like, I mean, I understand it's a kill or be killed scenario here.
If you bully a person
Yeah.
and throw them around too much, of course, when they're gonna snap at some point. Of course they are, right? And with Attack on Titan, it's not like Aaron snapped, right? It's just like he was like a cornered rat, right? Like, pushed into a kill or be killed situation that he really was trying to find a bunch of ways out of. But you get the incel community who will bastardize Attack on Titan and be like, yay, cool, eugenics, which, if anything, like, they were trying to do eugenics on Paradis, right? Like, Marley and the rest of the world were trying to do eugenics on Paradis. But you
And
know,
that's the problem. The issue is that the people who are ending offenders, they will conflate ending dislikers to basically to be genocidal maniacs themselves. Or full on racist, some shit like that, or genocide supporters. That's why it's like that's why people don't really want to defend it, or not really want to. That's why people don't really want to argue for Aaron's actions. It's because just that if you argue for it, then you're gonna be conflated to, oh, you're a genocide supporter, you're a racist and shit like that. Just like, yeah, there's no point of interacting if you're just gonna assume that. Then no one's gonna just bother interacting. The only one that remains on the platform are those that support the ending and like the ending and shit like that. So
are stupid, so that community of people will flip it to yay Aaron Jaeger, which is German, so he's Aryan, so he's doing a genocide, which is cool, which is fun, ha ha ha, lol, which isn't what the actual story is about. So I don't understand why Isayama felt the need to condemn Aaron so hard to the audience, to the readers so hard. We get it. In
but
the
again,
real
that's the problem. You're trying to punch down the you're trying to freaking preach to the extreme minority that actually unironically think that. Like to so people that actually ironically think that it's the extreme minority, and they try to preach to them. It's just so stupid.
world, this is awful. No one's cheering for Aaron because yay, genocide, right? The normal people cheering for Aaron, which is the majority of the fans, were cheering for him because he was cornered and forced into a kill or be killed situation.
And that's the problem when when those majority or those majority that you're talking about are trying to argue for that against the people that actually defend the ending. The ending defenders will conflate those majority to the extreme minority, talking about, oh, you just want to do it, you just want destruction, you want people to die and shit like that. So it's like, again, there's no point talking to them at that point. It's just a death of conversation.
By the way the series is written objectively, right? He was written with no other options. So in a situation like that, of course, I'm going to be all for self-preservation. With the Joker, it's a little less gray, right? He got upset at the guy, the TV guy, because he was making fun of him and he killed him, which I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of Parasite, like when the poor dad guy like kills the rich dad guy, just just because he snapped.
And I you understand why Alfred Fleck loathes him, because he looked up to Murray. He looked up to him for so many years. He watched him for so long, and his dream was to get on the show and for Murray to treat him with respect and shit. And then the total opposite happened. So yeah, that's why he felt so bitter and salty. Mm.
Like that's literally all I can call that in that moment. So yeah, I mean, it makes slightly a little bit more sense to kind of condemn the incels or the audience who like put the Joker on this big pedestal, but at the same time,
I never put Joker on a pedestal. I just liked him for his like the acting and shit like that. I never put him on a pedestal for relatability or some shit like that. Again, that's the extreme minority. I never actually heard people who unironically think that.
are ruining the integrity of the story when you feel the need to talk to a subgroup of the fans and be like, hey, this is your hero. Let me strip him down of everything he has. Look at how pathetic he is now. Yeah, now look, it's pathetic if you like him because it was just a facade anyway. It was just a like fake symbol. And you can't tell me that's not exactly what Isayama did. You liked Chad Aaron, quote, quote, Chad Aaron. Well, it was a facade. He was pretending. Real Aaron's back.
Oh yeah, that's another problem I had too. When people were trying to say that, yo, him crying like that was so bad, and so shit like that. People are just trying to say, oh no, he just wanted to chat Aaron. It's like, no, listen, I don't care that he's crying. The problem is why he's crying. That's what people will be arguing against, and they could then any defense will conflate and say, oh, you just want to chat Aaron, the serious cool one. It's like, no, you're just fucking dead wrong and assuming now.
Wee.
Is that it? Okay, that's it. Alright. Okay. The next one is Penguins is a fraud. Okay. Hold on. So this one is called Penguin Zero. Moist Critical is a fraud. And as you know, I still watch Moist Critical. Like I still watch his videos and shit like that. So it's just that when it comes on the anime opinions, I don't really listen to him. Especially he's one of those freaking Demon Slayer hypebeasts that only like Demon Slayer for its animation. And trying to say, oh, it captures simplicity, so it's good. And it's like, yeah, come on, bro. So yeah, I still watch Moist Critical. It's just that when it comes on to anime opinions, I do not listen to him. So
It's rare in life to get to be the biggest hater, to not just hate something, but hate it more, perhaps, than anyone else on the planet. And when that opportunity does present itself to you, you need to express yourself, to share your evil opinions. Who else can do it? Who else is up to the task?
Okay, so I'm so sorry. I do not give a damn how this video is gonna come across. You can call me bitter. You can call me I need to let it.
I'm a side. People, any defender's been calling you that for years. So I don't. It's nothing new at this point. People been calling that. Any defender's been calling that for years. So it's nothing new, honestly.
So you can say you can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm done. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm done. Penguin Zero is a fucking fraud. Now, I've said that he's my GOAT. I'm a fan. I watch his videos still to this day, right? Everyone knows I don't agree with his Attack on Titan opinion, right? My thing is, my brain is really good at remembering stuff that people say.
Yes, and then the problem is that Saiyan Chief was talking about wanting to debate with him because he said that anyone who doesn't like the ending is basically drinking stupid juice. And then that kind of got everyone's kind of got, wait, excuse me. And then Saint's like, yo, should I remember because I was on the I was watching the stream. Basically what happened was he was Saint Chief, he was reacting to the Moist Critical review on it, right? And then he literally said, and then Moist Critical said, anyone who dislikes the ending is drinking stupid juice. And then since like, he kind of like got taken aback by it, and then he's like, he was asking the chat, yo, should I ask him for a debate or some shit? So at that time, Moist Critical was streaming at the same time he was watching the video, right? So he hopped on. I think he hopped on Twitch. I don't know if it was Twitch or YouTube, but he hopped on to I think it was Twitch. He hopped on to Twitch and then sent him $20 and then asked him for a debate. And then Saint Chief's like, it was just a joke and shit like that. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. That's kind of the summary of it. I don't know if Saint Chief still has the whole video about that, but yeah, that's what happened.
And it's like really, really good at it. Like verbal things. It's how I passed college. It's how I passed high school, right? Like there would be times where I didn't even have to study because I could just remember what the teacher said about the question. I could remember it sometimes verbatim, like with a 98% success rate. Like my memory is crazy. And that is why I want to just say Penguin Zero is a fucking fraud for his Attack on Titan opinion. I'm so sorry. I just watched.
Listen, I'm gonna say it now. I still watch Moist Critical. I still listen to like movie reviews and shit like that. It's just when it comes on to anime itself, I do not listen to it because he was the same guy that called One Punch Man trash because the animation quality went down. Even though the story, I gotta admit, the story was okay. It was just the animation quality was down. He was one of the hype beasts that was liking Demon Slayer and shit like that because of the animation. It's like, here's the thing. Moist Critical, I'm gonna be honest, he is a normie when it comes on the anime. He would watch the popular shit. Obviously, there's some that are obscure that most people don't know that he watched, but he is mostly, if not a mainstream normie. So when it comes on to anime opinions, I'm kind of skeptical on a lot of them. The only ones I really agreed with was the Rick and Morty one and the Ninja Kamui one. But he was on the hype train for that one, so even then I'm just like, yeah, no. Oh, the animation quality fell down, and all of a sudden you don't like it anymore. Okay. even though
I've come
you,
from
even though you were the one of the ones that were perpetuating the hype. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure he was one of the one. He definitely liked Ninja Comedy for like the action and shit like that, and then it fell off, and he started talking shit about it. It's just like whatever. But yeah, he definitely did not like One Punch Man season 2 because of the animation. That was the biggest gripe of him with coming when it came on to One Punch Man was because of the animation season 2, because it changed studios. That's why. So yeah. But when it comes on to some anime opinions, he's pretty valid. I mean, when he talked about Dragon Ball, we give like a 4 or something, or I think it was 4 or 5. Him, I can understand why you give Dragon Ball. Listen, I don't. His reasoning for it was not very well articulated, but the basic story itself, yeah, sure, I'll give him that. Code Geass, hell yeah, Code Geass is very good. He gave ReZero a high one. I'm like, yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. So again, when it comes to these anime opinions, I'm very skeptical on a lot of them, but most when it comes to a couple of them, he does. I mean, when it comes to the Rick and Morty one, that one hit on the dot. So yeah. But everything else about his content, I still watch his content. His movie reviews, his news videos, his drama videos, like a clip of his past stream watching someone. Yeah, I still watch Moist Critical. It's like him testing out food and clothing and shit like that. I still watch Moist Critical. It's just that when it comes to anime opinions, that's why I give him the stink eye.
I like to put on a YouTube video. I don't watch it. I just listen to it like a podcast. Of course, Penguin Zero, his Joker 2, Do Foley, whatever, video came on. And, I listened to Charles White. Why not? I put it on. I listened to it. Tell me why this motherfucker,
Hmm?
and I'm a fan still, kind of, whatever. So I say MF with love. MF, not derogatory. Tell me why he's talking about, wow, this movie is literally just breaking down the Joker. It's literally just breaking down the character we watched him grow into. This is awful. This is not worth watching. It's like, whoever the fucking director is or whatever, hated the character that he created.
Which we all know that was true. The director hated he hated the reception of Joker and how people really liked the first Joker. So that's actually true.
Got super meta and on the nose and preachy to the audience to, like, say, yeah, you fucking love Joker? Well, guess what? He's pathetic. He's a piece of shit.
And then he told you. I watched that video, so I know what she's talking about. He did say he liked the acting though. It was just the script. That's the thing that he hated was the script of it itself. He thought the acting was good, and I agree. I like the acting was fine. It was just the script. It was just the freaking script itself. The story itself is what made it shit. But yeah, Most Critical basically said that he likes the acting. The acting was fine, and just the script that they were handed with, the actors were handed with, wasn't good. And then he didn't really like the musical parts because he said that he also argued that the musicals just kind of jump out of nowhere. Which again, I had that similar opinion too. So yeah, he didn't like the musical aspect as well. So basically, me and Moist Critical's opinion on Joker 2 is pretty much the same. So yeah, at least the gist of the issues that we had are pretty much one to one.
me and me and Penguin Zero, me and Charlie, whatever, have the same exact opinion, literally same, like almost word for word opinion about Joker 2, right? The same shit that went wrong in Joker 2 besides the music part, right?
Oh, then she's gonna connect it back to AOT and say how AOT was also preachy, but Moist Critical liked it instead. Oh, here we go. Oh my god, here we go.
Besides it being a musical is what went wrong in Attack on Titan.
It wasn't a musical in Attack on Titan, but it was preachy. I'll give you that.
And that's not the only fucking thing where this has been kind of one-to-one. There have been so many animes where Charlie would say, oh yeah, I don't like shit where friendship is, magic is the big like reveal at the end, right? Like there's been so many animes where shit ends with like a concept that Isayama used in AOT, the exact same fucking concept, and Charlie's like, yeah, no, I fucking hate that shit.
You can't be talking about Code Geass, because Code Geass, that type of ending with Code Geass was actually good. There was actually it was understandable why it would be effective. So no, you cannot be saying no, you don't involve Code Geass, because the way that Lelouch did it was way better planned, way better understandable than what Aaron fucking did. Because again, Lelouch's assassination was recorded and televised. So there will be no ifs, ands, or buts to argue that Lelouch would be still alive. No, his assassination was televised. That's what people miss the fucking argument, man. So no, you can't talk about Code Geass, because Code Geass did it way better.
Hate it. No, it's bad. Oh yeah, guess what? Like friendship ended up being magic at the end. All of this shit. And that's not the only anime, guys. I can't remember what other fucking animes he's watched where he said, oh, this isn't ideal. I don't like shit like this. And Isayama,
I think he talked about was it Black Clover we talked? No, I don't think he watched Black Clover at that time. Was it Black Clover? I'm not too sure. But she did have an issue with generic. I remember that. He did have an issue, a couple anime he talked about with being generic and shit like that. I don't remember which one, but he did. I remember he did talk about, how generic it was, and then how, I think it was talking about then how like V0, for example, was like, oh, subverting shit like that. The whole subversion shit, and then he also talked about Hunter x Hunter in a good light, talking about subversion and shit like that. Yeah. Again, that's why I say Penguins. That's why I say Moist Critical is just a mainstream normie. So when I hear his opinions on shit, I don't really take them. I don't really take them very seriously. I wouldn't make a whole fucking video on it. I ain't no saying Shiva Brown's magic. You know what I'm saying? But again, some of his opinions on anime are good. For example, the Dragon Ball Z one, he had it at a low rating. I remember he had the Bleach one at a low rating. Like, some of his opinions on anime are some I can agree with. It's just that some of mine just don't agree with. Like having Hunter x Hunter, I had a 9 on 10 or shit like that. I just don't agree with that. Or how he had Monster so low. I'm like, what the fuck? Monster's fucking good. What are you talking about? So yeah, that's why I don't really take his opinions super seriously, because he's just a mainstream normie. So yeah.
did all those fucking things with the ending of Attack on Titan, and he loves it. And it's his favorite anime.
Yeah, his favorite anime, he changed it, because his favorite anime was Code Geass, and then now his favorite anime is Attack on Titan.
Everything that went wrong in Joker is what went wrong in the AOT ending. Isayama,
Except I will argue that it's at a bigger cataclysmic degree. Joker 2 ending was bad, but I would say AOT's ending was worse than Joker 2.
watched Eren grow into quote Chad Eren, right? And then at the end, Isayama regresses Eren back to quote some idiot who found too much power. But we watched him grow out of that shit at the cave when Historia like And then, like,
And then I remember Moise Krill was trying to say, yo, if it wasn't for Mikasa, if Mikasa just confessed at the time, then Aaron would have done this and shit like that. So basically he's trying to insinuate that because of Mikasa's decision to not confess to Aaron there, you're trying to say that's why Aaron pretty much did the rumbling was for freaking for Mikasa shit like that. Because I remember Moise Krill did talk about that, so. Yeah, and then he tried to say it was like, oh, it's an alternate timeline. I was like, well, we have no proof it's an alternate timeline. It's more just a what if scenario that Aaron created in the past. There's no concrete proof that it's an alternate timeline. We never witnessed Aaron seeing multiple timelines, and that's the issue. We don't really get to see Aaron's perspective in the post time skip, so we don't get to see how he basically filtered out thinking that the rumbling was the best idea. We don't know because we didn't see all those past the consequences of the other timelines. We don't get to see it. That's the problem.
knocked him in the head, and then he literally punched himself to kill the crybaby who couldn't, do shit. Whatever he's fucking said. So, he recognizes it. He does. He knows. He knows when something is a piece of shit. He knows. He knows. And I don't care.
And then he remember he said before the ending, he was like, oh, if Aaron was this mustache twirling villain who just wanted to destroy the world because he wanted to, then that would be bad. Even though in the manga he literally said he wanted to. And when it's critical, he said he read the manga. It's like, oh, it's exactly the same. So I don't know what the fuck people were talking about. He was drinking stupid juice or some shit. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Bitter. You can call me stupid. You could say I need to let it go. You could tell me to hang it up. Put the fries in the bag. Okay, I'm just being stupid now. But anyway, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I know I shouldn't care. I shouldn't give a fuck. I shouldn't care. I know. But I do. Nonetheless, I do. Because listening...
And there's nothing wrong with caring about it. There's nothing wrong with arguing against someone's opinion. And I hate that so much. I hate when people trying to say, "Oh, it's my opinion, so you can't take someone's opinion." Like, no, I can take your opinion. That does not mean I will not take it and shit on it and then argue why your opinion is wrong. Like, that's the problem with people, man. Like, they always want to say, oh, it's my opinion. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Yes, you're allowed to have an opinion. And I'm allowed to fucking shit on that opinion if I think that opinion is wrong. Like, that's the problem, bro. People are just so, like, they don't want to argue, bro. It's like, oh, this is my opinion. Oh, leave me alone with my opinion. You can't take an opinion? Gee. It's like, no, I can take an opinion. But if I think your opinion's wrong, I'm gonna take that opinion and shit on it and then throw it at you and tell you why you're fucking stupid.
To his review of the Joker 2 just made me so fed up. Because you watched the same thing happen to Aaron. Everything that happened to Arthur.
Yes, but guess what? There was no action. In the Joker, there's no action in the Joker. There's barely any action in the Joker. He's had a couple boom booms and that's it. There's no action in the Joker. But for AOT, oh, we had this whole climatic fight, and these guys were fighting these past Titan shifters who somehow they survived against, and then they still had enough gas to like. Oh my gosh, bro. Oh, that ending is trash.
Like happened to Aaron besides a random person killing him, right? It was Mikasa. Everything that happened to Arthur Fleck's character in the 2 Joker movies is what happened to Eren Yeager from the beginning to the end of the series. We watched...
Not everything, because Eren basically planned himself to die while Arthur Fleck was surprise attacked. So... It's not the same, but yeah, basically yes, the basic premise is the same. Yes, they get the agency stripped from them and then they die. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's understandable.
Eren become the fucking Joker. We watched that shit happen, and it made sense. For both stories, it made sense. It was never this, my head was all messed up, I'm an idiot. For the Joker, it was never, oh, I have split personality disorder, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. It was never that. But the director, the author, the creators decided, hey, I don't fuck with this character anymore.
Because people had an issue with Joker too. They thought that, hey, Arthur Fleck was going to embrace being the Joker, do the Joker shit, but then he kind of rejected it, and then his ending is anticlimactic. He just gets shanked by some random nigga at the end. Wah wah. Womp
The
womp.
audience are getting the wrong idea about this character. Let me preach to them. It's the same exact thing. Now, I, for one, would have given Penguin Zero, Charlie, whatever, the benefit of the doubt if I had not been watching his anime reviews. And he's talking about, oh yeah, I hate when friendship's the answer and all that shit and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. For all these different animes, and I'm like, well, let's see how he feels about the AOT ending, right? Because as a manga reader, I had about a year or two.
Or 3. We had those. Yeah, I mean, it did end in 2023. So yeah, 2 years. Yeah, everyone had 2 years of knowledge. So I knew. That's why for me, I'll be honest. I never watched the final episode. I'm gonna be honest. I never watched the AOT final episode. And guess what? I probably never will because I know how it ends. The ending's exactly the same. And I think the ending is trash. So what's the point of me of going to watch what's the point of me watching the anime version of trash? So for me, it's just like no, it's not even like trash that I enjoy. It's just like ugh, like like it's not like Ruby, like Ruby's like Ruby, it's trash for me, but for me it's like enjoyable trash. It's like fucking it's like eating junk food. You know it's bad for you. Just like yeah, I'm still going along with it. That's like how I feel about Ruby. But for the AOTN, it's not even like enjoyable trash. It's just it's like repulsive trash. Like you just want to get it the fuck out of your face. That's how I feel. So like for me, I don't think I'm ever gonna be watching the ending at the anime ending at all. Uh, I'm not really watching the fucking movie that's supposed to come out, which is basically a fucking compilation of the fucking final parts. So I'm not gonna be watching that. So I'm not watching nothing. I'm not watching the anime version. I'm probably never gonna watch the anime version because I have no reason to. I read the manga. There's no reason to watch the anime version at all because it just ends exactly the same, except for a little bit of dialogue here and there. But even though my issues are exactly, it still lingers there. So there's no point in me watching it. So yeah, I commend Browns of Magic and Saint Chief watching the anime version of the ending. I'm not gonna, and I don't think I ever will.
Like a year and a half of watching his videos of anime reviews, and he's like, nah, I hate when this happens in stories. I hate that shit. And I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna fucking hate the AOT ending. He's gonna hate it. If he hates this, for real, for real, for real, then he's gonna hate the AOT ending. I just knew it.
Even fucking Serenity was gonna say yeah. Even Sane's gonna be like homebo. Even Sane was like yeah, oh boy, you're really gonna age like milk, homie. So yeah, many people did expect for him to not like the ending, but it turns out he really did like the ending, and then he called it basically 10 out of 10. And people who again, it is what he said. He said that people who didn't like the ending must be drinking stupid juice, and then yeah, he got flamed for that, and then he said, oh, it's just a joke, bro. Excuse. Yeah, I didn't really care.
I just knew it. Based on his tastes. Based on what he was saying. Oh, look, he fucking loved it. That's weird. Based on all these anime videos that he like made where he doesn't like this, he doesn't like this, he doesn't like this, and Isayama does it all, that's very fucking weird that he liked the AOT ending. Interesting. So now we get over here, and these are fundamental principles, right? Like, so I feel like somebody's gonna comment, oh yeah, comparing an anime and a movie. It's not the fact that it's an anime and a movie, it's the fact that he's complaining about how the character was regressed and basically undone by the author in the Joker, right?
The
That's
director
literally what
or
happens to
script
Aaron.
writers.
I'll say it again. We watched Aaron become the quote-unquote Joker. Obviously, to a very different degree, right? Like, he was pragmatic. He was calm, cool, collected. He didn't just go on some rampage, unlike the Joker kind of did, right?
I mean, he kind of did go on a rampage, right? With the old ending talking about how I wanted to do it, but I didn't. Like, he kind of did go on a little rampage. It's a little rampage. Killed 80% of the population, the world's population, but it was a little rampage. Not too big.
But
It's like he killed 85, like a 90 or 99.9. It was an 80. It's a little mishap.
watched Aaron become quote unquote Chad Aaron.
Oh shit.
We watched him put on this cold face, but under the cold face, of course he did really care about his friends and stuff, but he just had to do what he had to do to, genocide or be genocided, right? We saw him become that person. He dropped the quote idiot, the naivety. He dropped the ability of not seeing things in shades of gray, right? He dropped all that black and white thinking, which is when he, shakes hands with Reiner. Like, bro, stand up. Like, I get it now. We're the same, me and you. But you looked like the bad guy to me that day. You were just doing what you, felt like you had to do. That's what I'm doing because I was born in this world. We saw Aaron become Chad Aaron, and it made perfect sense for the narrative. And in the final fucking 2 episodes, in the final 4 or 5 chapters, or 3 or 2, however you want to say it, it's completely undone because Isayama was on Reddit looking at, people's reviews, didn't want people to get the wrong idea of how he wasn't there an interview where he said, yeah, I didn't want people to think, the editor said that it looked like he was glorifying genocide. I'm so sorry. And I don't care what you guys think about me for making this video, but I think it's ridiculous. I really, really do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love Charlie to death, but I can't respect this. I cannot. Because the same fucking thing happened to Aaron. The same thing happened to Aaron. And he thinks the Joker 2 is unwatchable because it undoes Arthur Fleck's character.
Oh god, I would watch Joker 2 10,000 times over than I would watch Joker 2 10 times over than watch the last episode of Attack on Titan.
Because it undoes the character progression we saw in the first movie. And because of the odd morality, he even brought up the fact that the police don't get punished for raping Arthur or and assaulting him in the bathroom and whatnot. Yeah, gee.
They don't even get punished when they killed another prisoner because if you didn't know, I think it was shortly after Arthur was basically assaulted in the bathroom. Not so he wasn't assaulted, but he's basically beaten. But assaulted, beaten, whatever. But basically, he was basically beaten, and then what happened was there was another prisoner who was singing, and then the prisoner guards were basically choking him to death. And one of the prison guards was choking him, and then the other ones was like, "Yo, calm down, stop it." And then the prisoner ended up actually dying, due to asphyxiation. And then everyone's like, "Yo," then the police officer's like, "Yo, you killed him, bro." So yeah, crazy.
How the fuck do you think we feel about Annie and like Gabby?
Gabby, I can give leeway. I can give leeway for Gabby. Annie, I cannot. And that was an issue that I had. The issue was that Levi held a grudge for Zeke for 4 fucking years, but yet there was no hint that he's holding a similar grudge to Annie for killing his squad that he had for years. Nope, he never brought that up ever. Fucking stupid.
Come on now, bro. Come on now, bro. I'm sorry. It's just it's a lot, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't matter that much. I'm just taking a little slice of the day to talk about it because why not? Because it's fresh on my mind. I'm still in my car, guys. But I did want to say something. I did want to just say it's almost unbelievable. And I've been quiet. I've been quietly absorbing.
I find it to be believable because you know why? People be shitting on like other series, calling it like Black Clover. People are saying, "Oh, it's generic. It's so People say, "Oh, it's generic. Oh, the kills all one-dimensional," and then they will go to Demon Slayer and say, "Oh, it's so good. It's simple." But that makes it good, cause they mastered simplicity to perfection. It's like, okay, you're criticizing one anime series for being generic, but you're praising another series for being also generic? Like, make up your fucking mind. Is generic good or not? So no, I'm not surprised. that Penguin Zero had a whole different opinion on the Joker than compared to AOT. Cause a lot of anime fans fucking do that all the fucking time. They criticize something for being generic, and then when they see an anime like Demon Slayer, they say, "Oh, but generic is so good. That's what makes it so good, cause it's generic." It's like, yeah, no, come on, bro. It's called keep the same energy. If you think one series is bad for not having complexity, then you should be shitting on a Demon Slayer for having complexity. But no, that's not the case.
Of this shit. I've been quietly seeing him say like different shit about other like media, and that's not me saying like I've been like very hyper specific in like what I've been watching of his, right? I'm not compiling the evidence from shit that are very specific to a certain show, right? Like if he was saying, "Oh, for this series, I don't think friendship is magic was the answer," right? No, he was like blatantly flat out saying like, "Yeah, like when friendship is the answer is the fucking ending, that shit's garbage. Like it's lukewarm. It's not good." That's literally what happened at the end. That's literally what happened at the end of Attack on Titan. Sorry. So my sister's coming to the car, so I do think I'll end the video here. It's just weird. I'm sorry. It's just really weird.
It is just so weak for a finale. And it feels like there's so many things that were set up throughout seasons 1 through 3 that are just completely abandoned so far in the final season. Like it's like they totally forgot they even wrote some of
Yeah, again, this is not him talking about the ending, right? This is not him talking about the ending of Attack on Titan. I think he's talking about I think he's talking about Game of Thrones. No, he's not talking about Game of Thrones because his whole setup is different. His whole setup was different when he was talking about Game of Thrones. So I don't know what he's talking about here. What is he talking about in this clip? I don't know.
these things. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here because I know it's still
Squid Game is coming back. Yeah, I know.
fresh. But man, there were like entire plot lines coming into season 4 that I think the writers were just hoping people forgot about. Like I have no real good explanation for the complete absence of things that were set up.
Oh, is this the video? Is this the video? Oh, is this the video he's... Okay, yeah, I'm guessing she's showing the video where she got it from. And I think what he's talking about is the Umbrella Academy. 'Cause I think Umbrella Academy had 4 seasons. Hold on, let me check. Umbrella Academy. Yep, it was the Umbrella. It was the the Umbrella Academy because the Umbrella Academy had 4 seasons. So yeah, I think he's talking about the Umbrella, the Umbrella Academy in this clip here because Umbrella Academy had 4 seasons and I think it ended pretty recently, right? When did it end? I think it ended. When did it end? Did it end this year? Yeah, and it ended August of this year. So yeah, okay. So this probably was the video that I didn't watch. Okay, I don't remember watch. I don't remember this video. So okay.
And then just not finished. It reminds
There are no previous timelines in the Umbrella Academy because they are in different timeline. Nothing that happened in the previous timeline will correlate to this one. Okay.
me of that villain from
So funny because you should reach out for Charles for season 2. He did start. Okay.
Jimmy Neutron, the guy that he says he is a garden variety idiot who fell into a lot of power. And the only answer he has to any of the problems in the world is rage. He says that
Which is so stupid because he was so hesitant on not he didn't want to fight Annie. He legit did not want to fight Annie, but Armin convinced him to. He did not want to genocide. He did not want the rumbling, but the fucking memories were kind of correlating to be true. So no, his first thing wasn't just rage. Yes, he had some clips where he just rage, but that wasn't all the time. He didn't have that after he was in the cave. He didn't have that when he was trying to fight Annie. He didn't have that. He didn't have that. He didn't think about rage for the first time. As the first option about the rumblings. I just not completely true.
he's a slave to freedom. He can't escape his very nature, which is just a dumb idiot whose only answer to anything is violence.
Which is so, again, that's stupid because if you look in the previous seasons, he did not want to resort to violence. The problem was that the answer to solve the problems was violence, and Aaron didn't want that. I She said he's like, yo, everyone's trying to transform. He's like, yo, I can't transform because, and Mikasa's like, yo, do you not want to fight Annie? Do you have some feelings for her? Everyone's like, So like again, that's not necessarily true. That's the problem was that his environment kind of forced him to act on violence. And then when he was kind of cornered, when the Marleyans and everyone else trying to kill him, he's like, okay, why don't we but to retaliate? So no, his only answer wasn't violence. The problem was that the fucking the outside forces. Hey, get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out! The outside. The problem was his external conflicts were kind of perpetuating him to act on violence and shit. So you can't say that's his only answer to everything. That's just not true.
Just in case you forgot, here's that one interview of Isayama admitting that he used Eren as a mouthpiece for himself at the end when he.
Okay, Eren says in the final episode of the anime that he had no truth but the fall of the future he saw, but he was powerless against the power of the founding Titan. Armiras, he's really free, he's telling the truth, or do you see him telling an excuse? So true to the situation is that with Eren overlaps a certain sense of my own story with this manga. When I first started the season, the way about it probably be cancelled. It was a book that no one knew about. I had always started the story with the ending in mind. The story ended up being read and watched by a couple number of people. I mean, being given a huge power that I quite feel comfortable with. It would have been nice if I could have changed the ending. Writing manga is supposed to be freeing. If I was completely free, I would have been able to change the ending. Could have changed it. Said I wanted to go a different direction. But the fact is, I was tied down to what I originally envisioned when I was young. So, and so in the manga, it's a very restricted art form for me. Similar to how the math power Eren required was up to restricted to him. Yeah. So basically, it was basically kind of if you want to go on a meta narrative, whatever, you can just say that just like Eren was restricted from his founding Titan powers, Isayama was restricted by the manga corporation, some shit like that.
Added all that shit in the anime talking about I'm a slave to freedom and I'm just an idiot who gained.
But what about Togashi? Togashi has multiple endings in mind. He still deciding which one to do, but he has multiple endings in mind. So saying that you're just stuck on one ending and one ending alone, that's kind of stupid. You should have had some backups, bro.
So much power and whoop de whoop de whoop de woo. In other words, saying that Isayama, like, he disposed of the integrity of the story to preach down to the audience and to use Eren as a mouthpiece for himself. Straight trash.
That's it.
It also feels like Todd Phillips has regrets and isn't proud of the first movie.
He's talking about Joker 2 for the rest of the clips. Okay.
Because a lot of what happens in this movie is undoing a lot of what the first one did. So the Joker's not even really in this movie. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's mainly Arthur Fleck just being sad. Like Arthur Fleck going through bad things. He is completely regressed into just the old Arthur Fleck, who doesn't have that Joker persona anymore and that like confidence or anything. But
Nope.
Joker,
Because even when he was Joker, that confidence was going down when was it Gary? I think the midget was named not the well yeah I think the midget was named is Gary. When even when he was confronting with Gary, he was still like so unsure near the end. He was kind of breaking. So even then, the Joker facade was not working at all. So yeah, you can argue that yeah he was Joker for like a scene, even any scene.
unrecognizable from how it was in the first movie. It feels so forced, and in this movie, the Joker's just kind of a fucking moron. Like, he's actually just kind of an idiot. So it actually just goes nowhere. It ends in the exact same place it started without really much changing, and he just dies in a hallway to a random guy. There is no comeuppance for some bad people in this film. For example, the guards. Towards the end of the movie,
Again, I don't like Gabby, but I will still give leeway to her, mostly because she's a child and shit like that. But for Annie, no, Annie should have been perfect on that one. Like, no, Annie's a piece of shit, and the fact that Levi did not get on her ass for what she did to his squad is stupid, so stupid. And it's been established that he knows he holds a grudge because he hated Zeke for those many years. So the fact that he They have that same energy for Annie. It's fucking stupid.
Scene where the guards snap on Arthur after seeing him in the courtroom. They assault him, brutalize him, and there's an implied rape of Arthur by the guards. And really the right call to have other villains beat him up, rape him, and those villains are fine at the end of the movie. Like, there should have been a moment where the Joker comes out and he kills those guards.
Yeah, because those same guards killed another prisoner. They choked him to death, and then he should have been like, you know what, you get what you fucking deserve. And then I think he was still in cuffs. Or was he in cuffs? I wouldn't know. I don't remember. I don't know if he's still in cuffs or not. But yeah, he should have been like, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. Get like a weapon and start fucking butchering, start beating them or some shit like that. But that didn't happen.
Or something to that effect. Like, it's just, this movie, it really feels like Todd Phillips hated the character he made, so wanted to unmake the character like as best he could. It's just so weird, the direction this movie goes. And beforehand, I know Todd tried to say that he believed music was like an integral part to explore.
Alright, is that it? Okay, that's it. Alright, that's it. Alright. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm gonna delete the videos and then we're gonna go on YouTube. Give me a moment. I'm just gonna switch up a little bit. Speed dial, baby. Here we are, Opera GX, motherfucker. Oh shit. Bam. Alrighty. On YouTube now, we're on YouTube. Hold on a second. Sorry. Okay.
Did last time. Last time Trump said don't early vote, and so they didn't. Republicans do have an advantage in early vote numbers. When the early vote come in, it's going to look a little bit different than 2020, and that's scary.
So he says it's scary what he's seeing in the early vote. What do you say?
I say that I hope folks will get out there and vote if you haven't already. Exercise your right to be a part of our democracy. Yeah. And to your viewers, remember, we won't have final results here in Pennsylvania
but does it
for
concern
several
you?
days.
Does it concern you,
after
Senator,
November
the way
5th?
it concerns Jim Messina?
Well, sure, I'm concerned about this election all over the country. It is going to be razor thin. We're going to be working on it until the last hour. Part of why I've been campaigning across Pennsylvania and encouraging people to come out and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is because I think this is very close.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that the election isn't close, but I personally think that if the election was held today, Trump would have probably 65% chance of winning. I think realistically, that is where his odds are, okay? And I'm actually now ready to make predictions for you guys because I guess when you're in the game of politics, punditry, you got to make these predictions. Now, here's the thing. I am going to give a disclaimer, and I'm obviously going to hedge before giving these predictions. These predictions are based off what I think is the most likely scenario based off the data today. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris can't win. I'm not saying it's impossible because obviously, hey, there could be some shenanigans, but tossing aside the shenanigans, in order for Kamala Harris to win, Democrats are going to have to buck election day trends in the sense that, one, they're going to have to turn out in historic numbers on election day, and Republican men specifically are going to have to not show up to vote, which again is highly unlikely. Furthermore, they're going to have a lot of liberal women and a lot of pro-choice Republican women coming out in droves voting for Kamala Harris, okay? And again, this was part of the reason why that Iowa poll dropped, okay? That Iowa poll that the mainstream media is making a big deal about, showing Kamala up plus 3 or 4, something like that, something crazy to think about, right? But that poll, the reason why she was up was because of women, right? Because of the issue of democracy and abortion. I really do believe that that poll was put out there as hopium for the Kamala Harris campaign because at this point, that is what they need the most. They need hopium, right? They need a large injection of, hey, we can win this, okay? That we have a chance at winning. Look at this Iowa poll that usually is very reliable, and we're going to put this out here and say that these women are fired up to vote for Kamala Harris because of democracy and abortion, right?
And to make history, having the first woman president. Yeah, that's also what they want to do too. They want to make history.
Is gonna flip blue because of democracy and abortion. Again, this is the narrative that is being put out there in the media, right? This is the narrative. I wouldn't be surprised if Ann Seltzer was paid a large amount of money to put that poll out. She's been doing her laps on the mainstream liberal media, explaining her poll in ways that are incoherent and just don't really make sense, okay? I wouldn't be surprised because, listen, if it worked and Kamala ends up winning, Ann Seltzer will be praised as a hero amongst the liberal media, right? Because, again, she injected the hopium that they needed in order to help Kamala Harris get that turnout from women that she's going to need on election day in order to win, okay? That is, I think, what is currently happening, right? And if Trump wins, then they will honestly just forget about it and say, oh, well, hey, it was just one poll in which she was off, not a big deal. And also, again, she probably got paid heavily, right? I'm just saying, like, if Trump wins, I'm almost convinced, I'm almost certain that she was paid to put that out there as hopium. So let's get into my map here. And first, we're going to start off with the states that I am most confident in, right? The states that Trump basically is performing the strongest in, the Sun Belt. So Georgia, I think Trump is going to pick up Georgia and North Carolina. One of the main reasons is because in the early vote numbers, we're seeing that the black voter turnout is abysmal, right? It is terrible. Now, turnout...
Yeah, it's actually... Because usually Democrats would vote for... usually black people would vote for Democrats, but... And they've been voting for them, like, all the time. But, like, the fact that Kamala Harris is dipped down... completely, like, very, not completely down, but very down compared to her contemporaries, is just like, yeah, the black vote is slowly turning away from her and heading back to Trump, or not voting at all.
Overall, it's up, specifically in Georgia, but again, it's not among blacks, it's among basically Republicans and everybody else, right? And if black voters aren't showing up for Kamala Harris, then that is going to be a problem in Georgia. It's going to be a problem in North Carolina, and it's probably going to be a problem in Pennsylvania as well, too, because Pennsylvania has a large black population in Philadelphia, right? So I personally think that Trump is going to pick up North Carolina and Georgia and Arizona as well, too, because he's polling.
I think this is the poll he made himself on a website. Damn, he has both Carolinas taken by Trump. That's crazy. Texas, I can understand. Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, He has Minnesota. Yeah, that's gonna be taken by Democrats for sure. Illinois has been taken by Democrats, yeah. New York, California, definitely. California has always been Democrat. I don't think that California has ever went red. I don't think there's ever been a moment in history where the votes from California went to a Republican instead of a Democrat. I don't think there's any recorded history. I could search it up, but I'm gonna probably switch up after. I highly doubt California ever went red. I highly doubt it.
Pretty well in Arizona. I think Arizona is actually the strongest place that Trump is polling in right now, going into the election in regards to the swing states. So I feel pretty confident in those three. Now, Pennsylvania, I personally think is going to flip red. Although Trump doesn't necessarily need Pennsylvania if he gets North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, which again are the states that he needs the most. If he picks up Pennsylvania, it's basically over, right? And I think that it's likely that he will be. And one of the reasons why is because I think that the union vote, the blue collar working class vote is going to break for Trump. And I think, honestly, that's going to put him over the top in Pennsylvania. Now, again, if he wins those four states, it doesn't really matter what happens in Wisconsin and Nevada and Michigan. But just for the sake of argument, I'm probably going to say that Wisconsin likely is going to go for Trump as well, too, which would put him at 291. Michigan, I will give Kamala Harris Michigan, although historically speaking, the blue wall moves as a whole. So if Pennsylvania goes red, Wisconsin goes red, it's likely that Michigan is going to go red. And I think that in Nevada, that's pretty much a toss-up. Doesn't really matter that much because it's only 6 votes. But I think possibly that is going to go for Trump. And I think this is the scenario that you're probably going to be looking at on election day. But easily, this could also be Michigan red as well, too. We could be looking at 312 votes. But I think that this year, that trend in which the blue wall kind of moves together, I think that's going to break. I actually think that possibly Kamala Harris could pick up Michigan. But that's just me being generous towards Kamala Harris at this point because I think that's the swing state she's performing the best in. That's the one that she has the best chance of winning. Mm-hmm. But you know that Pennsylvania is a problem for Kamala because she's spending the last day of campaigning in Pennsylvania. I think she has like 4 events today in Pennsylvania, right? And she's going very hard on Pennsylvania because of what we went over in this video in regards to early voting turnout, right? Turnout is down, enthusiasm is down. So again, she's rallying in Pennsylvania because she basically has to win that state, right? If Pennsylvania goes red, again, it basically makes it very hard for Trump to lose, okay? Also, something else that I would watch out for is Virginia possibly flipping red, okay? And then look out for New Hampshire as well, too. Again, unlikely, but I think it's actually more likely that Virginia flips red or New Hampshire flips red than for the scenario that Democrats are hoping for, which is for Iowa to flip blue. Which, I mean, at that point, I mean, you know, if this holds, right, they can have Iowa, but I don't think that's going to happen, okay? I don't think that Iowa is going to flip blue. I'm just saying that it's probably more likely that Trump is going to flip one of these blue states, Virginia, New Hampshire, than it is for Kamala Harris to flip Iowa. And this is where I'm at this point, okay? The day before the election, I got Trump winning 297 to Democrats losing 241. And I think that this is the most likely scenario. The only thing that I think can change this for Kamala Harris is, again, if women, liberal women, come out in droves, historically speaking, on election day and vote for Kamala Harris, and also pro-choice Republican women as well, too, the ones that have already voted or they're coming out on election day, coming out and voting for Kamala Harris in droves. That is the only scenario in which I see Kamala Harris winning. If Kamala Harris ultimately ends up winning, it's going to be because of that. That is going to be the sole reason. It's going to be abortion, and that's it, right? That is her only chance of winning. But historically speaking, Trump has underperformed in the polls going into the election. He has overperformed on the day of the election. And there's no reason in my mind to believe that that's not going to happen again. Even the New York Times came out and said, yeah, we have a hard time polling Trump supporters. So the polls are probably going to underestimate Trump support again. I'm just saying, if Kamala wins, it's going to be very strange because she would have to buck so many trends. Okay, so many things will have to go right in her favor that, again, just historically speaking, doesn't really happen in order for her to win at this point. And I just don't see it happening. But then again, you just never know. This is not a perfect science. But the overall odds, I would say Trump, 65% chance of winning as of right now. Kamala Harris, 40% chance of winning. When it comes to the popular vote, I give Trump a slight advantage there as well, too. He may win it by a point or two, or maybe it might be effectively tied. Wouldn't be surprised if Kamala wins the popular vote and Trump wins the electoral college. That also could happen as well, too. But as of right now, I give Trump a slight edge in the popular vote along with winning the electoral college. We will see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Alrighty. We're not done with him yet because we got more videos of him. So, we are not done with the Black conservative perspective yet. We got more of him coming through. So, in moments, we got 2 videos come from him. 2 videos from him. So, we're not done with Greg Foreman yet. Give it a moment. It's just trying to skip all the ads. See what the fuck happened. It's like, just gave up midway. It's like, yeah, I'm done. You just skip too many ads. I'm done. Like, fuck. Yeah, skip that. Oh, give me a break. You didn't care about it before. I was saying, oh, you care about, oh, I'm using ad blocker. Fuck you. I'll use a block if I fucking want to, bitch. Get out of here. What are you, take down my fucking stream? I don't care. All I did what I supposed to do. I did my 2 videos for today. Fuck, man. All this is just extra shit. Fine. Fine then. Fine. 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 I'll remove my ads. You want to act like a little pansy. Man. Fucking YouTube. They always want to put their ads in. They're pussy bitches. Fuck, man. There, how about your ads now?
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in.
Yeah. Skip
And
that
then
shit.
that's when that crazy woman started screaming, remember, with the glasses?
United States of America, Donald.
I wonder whatever happened to her. She's probably... I just wonder where she is right now.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Yeah, I saw this video. I think everyone knows this meme. Basically, like this happened back in 2016 when Trump was getting inaugurated and shit. Yeah, they did not like that.
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not
To my world.
2 nights out, and security is already very tight across the district. Fencing has gone up at several different locations, and law enforcement agencies have been preparing for months for the possibility of civil unrest. News 4's Mauricio Casillas.
Yeah, because the work is tomorrow. Oh, well, today's the election. Because Tuesday at midnight. But yeah, everyone's worried about fucking Trump winning, and if Trump wins, then it's gonna be shit. It's gonna be fucking hell on earth all over again, like it happened back in 2016, like what happened in Washington and Chicago and shit like that, and New York. So they're really mad.
Into some of the security measures that are in place as concerns over political violence linger.
A city bracing for what could be a tumultuous time. Fencing being reinforced outside the White House in Lafayette Square Sunday night. A similar scene outside the vice president's residence, the Naval Observatory. Some downtown businesses also fortifying by boarding up their windows ahead of the election. And security measures in place at Howard University, where Vice President Kamala Harris will hold her election watch party. For some we spoke with, it's hard not to feel a sense of tension.
Seeing temporary fencing go up around the White House and other nearby government buildings is feeling a little dystopian. So, there's definitely, the temperature is up in our country today.
Come back, Julio. You should come back. You should come here when it was 2016, but when it was 2016, they were not prepared for this, and then shit happened and shit hit the fan. And obviously, yeah, January 6th as well. People also went hitting shit in the fan. So again, this is not new. Definitely not new.
I'm it'll be an interesting week.
I do feel a little bit of unease just in general. I think everybody's just a little bit on edge regardless of where you fall politically. And I think people are just in a wait and see kind of mode.
But I want to be very clear. We will not tolerate any violence of any kind. We will not tolerate any riots. We will not tolerate the destruction of property. We will not tolerate any unlawful.
I have a question about this fucking girl on the bottom right being the fucking the sign language interpreter. There was just so many. It's so funny because I remember there was a case where the freaking the sign language dude, sign language interpreter, wasn't even doing correct sign language at all, but he was still getting paid. So that's why for me, man, I'm blessed. I'm grateful that I'm not deaf, man, because honestly, you can be throwing random shit to me and I'll be fucking confused. You might be getting me, Mick. You gotta be getting me fucking confused with some shit, but I don't even know. So, yeah, man. Ugh.
Behavior. Offenders will be arrested and will be held accountable.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have to
Because
continue.
if you really think about it, if you're deaf, you don't know how, you wouldn't know how to speak English or any other language, or any language, to be frank with you, because you'll be basically, because you won't be able to hear the English language or any language. So basically, if you try to talk, you basically screaming all the time. So unless you can read lips like a fucking master, then yeah, I can do that. But if you're trying to speak the language, you wouldn't be able to really say properly because you wouldn't understand how loud you're being or if you're saying words make sense. So yeah.
To talk about election predictions because everybody is
basically you being deaf is like basically you being mute at the same time. So
predictions about what is going to happen tomorrow on election day. Is Kamala going to win? Is Trump going to win? By how much is Kamala going to win, or by how much is Trump going to win? Nobody really knows, right? But one thing that I found to be very easy to predict before going into the election was the fact that liberal cities would be boarding up in anticipation for this election, in anticipation not for Kamala Harris winning, but for Kamala Harris losing, okay? Because history has shown us that liberals do not take losses very well, especially when it comes to Trump, okay? In fact, I just want to remind you guys of what happened in 2016 after Trump won the election, in which Hillary Clinton and Democrats did not like the outcome. They didn't really accept the outcome, and as a result, liberals committed acts of violence. They rioted, and there was a lot of chaos and destruction.
Do you understand why I have an ad blocker now? Because of this shit.
The world's first.
I don't care if it's 5 seconds.
Not my president! 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 The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching!
Chicago. Los Angeles.
All of a sudden, the police officers started to spray pepper spray, and they got our audio technician. They're going to see us running because they're going to throw more flashbangs. The chaotic scene just blocks outside the secure area of the inauguration and parade route.
I personally have anti-establishment slants, but I don't think that this is anything that I want to be a...
Tonight, thousands of protesters remain in downtown D.C., occasionally facing off with police. We have seen many people injured, both protesters and police officers.
A group of people carrying anarchy flags pushed over trash cans and destroyed storefront windows as they swarmed through the streets.
This is also a reason why I don't want to live in the U.S. It's because of this shit. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to live in the U.S. Is because of this shit. Can you imagine being so angry about an election to the point where you're breaking other people's property? It's insane, man. That's another reason why I don't want to. I don't want to live in the U.S., bro. It's fucking sucks.
Welcome visitors to our city, but we will not tolerate the destruction of our neighborhoods, and we absolutely will not tolerate violence against our police officers.
But as night fell, protesters lit a bonfire just blocks from the White House. Closer to home, near Mar-a-Lago, protesters wheeled a coffin to symbolize the death of democracy. And now a familiar scene outside Trump Tower in Chicago, a huge crowd of demonstrators making their voices heard.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear. I hope that does not happen, right? I hope that regardless of who wins, it's peaceful and we do not have to go through that, okay? I hope that we do not see that, okay? But my point is this. In 2016, you saw leftists not only lose their minds on election day, but also on inauguration day as well too, okay? And, you know, hey, these liberal cities have learned from the past, and they are preparing just in case Kamala Harris loses, okay? Best believe, okay? And what I find to be particularly interesting is how they're not just fencing up the White House and boarding up businesses in D.C., but they're also fencing around Kamala Harris's house in D.C. as well too, okay? I guess, I don't know, the leftists will be upset that Kamala Harris didn't beat Trump, right? So I'm not entirely sure. But again, they're not doing it because Trump supporters are going to be in D.C. if Trump loses. That's just not going to happen. They're doing it in anticipation of the left, right? I mean, let's be 100% honest. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's start with our very own David Kaplan. He's live in Northwest D.C., where the city is locking down, preparing for whatever may come Tuesday.
Damn, she got some hips. I'm sorry. Like, I'm beyond. Like, she got some hips, man. Like a fucking vase over here.
David, a lot of security measures are already in place, and earlier there are crews working hard behind you.
Yes, Sierra, definitely. We've covered the sort of fortification of Washington, D.C. leading up to the election and know that this posture is going to sort of continue for a while. We are here at the Naval Observatory right here where Vice President Kamala Harris lives. This is the fencing that has gone up around the perimeter of her home. Crews have been hard at work all afternoon. We've seen them getting this fencing up, obviously in advance of Election Day on Tuesday. Want to show you some video from earlier in this week. We saw a similar situation at the White House. Fox News also learned there would be enhanced security measures ahead of and after the election, particularly around the U.S. Capitol. Officials telling Fox 5 that D.C. residents can expect this enhanced police presence as well for a while, adding that they will prepare for any responses after the election is over. Some businesses near the White House also not taking any chances. We saw some emphasizing they're remaining open but opting to board up their windows as a precaution. Fox 5 speaking with a D.C. resident about all of these security changes happening in the district right now.
Yeah, so again, the easiest prediction that I've ever made, right? That liberal cities will be boarding up in anticipation of Kamala losing, right? And Trump becoming president-elect. They also boarded up in anticipation of the DNC. Now, the narrative for the mainstream liberal media is that, oh, well, Trump supporters are so violent, right? And liberals are so peaceful, okay? But you didn't see this type of stuff at the RNC. And again, they're not doing this because of the threat of violence from Trump supporters. No, they're doing this because the liberals that live in these cities will lose their minds over Trump winning, right? Again, because they've been brainwashed by Democrats and the media to think that Trump is Hitler, right? I mean, just imagine. A lot of these people think that Trump is Hitler, okay? And they're going to react in a way that you expect somebody to react if they really believe that Hitler was just elected president of the United States and that it's the end of democracy, which is what Democrats have said, right? I mean, they've said things like, for example, Trump is going to kill women, right? These are the type of things they've said. Now, again, what does that lead to, right? It leads to chaos and destruction, which, again, I'm hoping doesn't happen. I'm hoping that this is not happening. I'm praying that this does not happen, okay? Regardless of who wins, I don't want to see violence, but just based off history, okay, we know why this is happening. Again, it is not because they think Trump supporters are going to be in the streets in D.C., regardless of how the election goes. But guys, isn't it amazing how when it comes to the border wall, Kamala Harris said that was a vanity project, right? But when it comes to protecting her house in D.C., in herself, oh no, all of a sudden walls work, right? Fences are a good idea when it comes to protecting her house from what could possibly happen on election day if she loses. But when it comes to protecting the country, the southern border, no, that's not a good idea, right? That's a vanity project, right? She can't tell you whether or not it's a good idea to continue to fund the border wall, right? But again, the Democrats that are in power in D.C. think that it's a good idea to put up a wall, a fence around Kamala's home in the White House, right, to protect it. Again, it's just amazing how that works.
I mean, it is sad that it has to come to that. I do understand why a lot of store owners, especially like local businesses, would want to do that. Even outside of the elections, there have been like other instances where like they should have boarded and they didn't. But yeah, it's sad that it's the reality, but I hope that this time it was just a precautionary measure, nothing happens, and then, yeah.
Do you hear that? That's the call to conquer new terrains. The same call heard by those on Firestone Tire.
Now, regardless, particularly as we approach the January 6th certification in Congress and leading up to the inauguration, we're told that we can expect to continue seeing these types of precautions in place. In particular, we're told thousands of police officers from across the country will be in the district for those events, specifically in January. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser saying they have been preparing for all of this for months.
Yeah, so I think regardless of who wins, there are going to be challenges, especially if the election is close, right? Either way, okay? In fact, there's a scenario that I want to share with you guys that Ben Shapiro outlined that, in my opinion, I think is the absolute worst case scenario when you talk about rising tensions in this country and the outcome of the election. So without further ado, roll this clip.
The worst case scenario for the country is that the scenario that I laid out a few moments ago turns out to be the actual final scenario, that Trump wins Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada. And he gets to 268, and then Kamala Harris gets to 270. There is one major problem with this. The major problem with this is that the Electoral College count right now is flawed, deeply flawed. If you go back to the 2020 census, what you will find is that the 2020 census radically overcounted citizens in blue states and radically undercounted citizens in red states. This is not speculation. The Census Bureau has acknowledged as much. The Census Bureau has now acknowledged that 14 states had significant miscounts in the 2020 census. Significant miscounts in the 2020 census. We are talking being like 5% off in terms of the population. So why exactly does that matter? Well, the reason that matters is because that is how you allocate both congressional seats and electoral college votes. The states that were undercounted were nearly all red states, and the states that were overcounted were nearly all blue states. This makes a huge difference. Why? Because if the count had been properly done, the state of Florida would have had 2 more electoral college votes. The state of New York would have had 1 fewer electoral college votes. The state of Texas would have had 1 more electoral college vote. In all, somewhere between 7 and 9 electoral college votes would have gone to red states that are currently residing in blue states. Okay, that is just a fact. Okay, and because that is the case, wow. I mean, worst case scenario for the country is that. Worst case scenario for the country is Kamala Harris narrowly wins, and that then opens the door to this question being asked, because it is pretty clear at that point the electoral college count is wrong. I'm just painting a nightmare scenario for all y'all.
Yeah, that is really bad. Okay, that would be a terrible scenario for the country. I guess it would be a good scenario for Trump if he happens to lose in that way, right, where he has 268 electoral votes and Kamala barely has 270, which, by the way, again, is more likely than you think that could happen, because if you look at the map, all it would take for that to happen would be for Trump to win out in the Sun Belt, which he is favored to do so, right? He's favored to win North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, I believe, right now. And for Kamala Harris to win out in the Rust Belt, which would be Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, which we know that typically once one of these states goes blue, then all of them are going to go blue, right? So if Kamala Harris happens to win Pennsylvania by a miracle and then ends up winning Michigan and Wisconsin as well too, and Trump wins out in the Sun Belt, that's exactly what it leads to. It leads to that scenario in which Trump would then have to challenge the election on those grounds in order to have a chance of winning. And there's no doubt in my mind that they certainly will, because if the census is wrong if the census is undercounting votes for Republican states that should count towards their electoral votes, then, I mean, it would make sense to challenge that because the votes are not being allocated properly, right? I mean, that would make sense. And again, this scenario is not unlikely. Like, this scenario could actually happen. In fact, I think that this is the best case scenario for Kamala Harris, right? If Kamala Harris wins, this is probably her best case scenario. And right now, again, the polls are scary close to this, right? The only difference is that the polls have Trump slightly favored in Pennsylvania. That's it, right? So again, this could easily be the scenario. And if this is the scenario, yeah, these next 2 months, it's gonna be rough for the country. It's gonna be really, really, really rough for the country. But this should have been fixed ahead of time. To be quite honest with you, this should have been challenged ahead of time, since we know that the census is incorrect and essentially they've admitted that it's incorrect. This should have been taken care of before, right? So you don't have to go through this, but it seems as if this country is kind of destined for this type of scenario, okay, considering how polarized we have become as a country. So with that being said, hopefully that scenario doesn't happen, okay? And I want to leave you guys with this tidbit here that I think is important, because this memo that was put out by City Councilwoman Vicky Palladino from New York City, I think is right in line with the data and what the data is showing about the likely outcome of the election. And I want to read it because, again, this lines up almost exactly with my analysis that I put out in the last video. And again, this is analysis that I came up with before this even came out. But since this woman put this out and she's claiming that a Democrat consultant told her this, I think it's worth sharing. So let's read here. Just spoke to a Democrat consultant friend on the ground in a swing state who told me I could repeat some of what we discussed. Here is what I can tell you. Take it with a grain of salt if you like, but I think he's being straight with me. Nobody really thinks Kamala's going to win at this point. Canvassing is going poorly almost everywhere with few exceptions. The party is getting their high follower influencer accounts to push out motivational stories just to keep morale up and get them over the finish line with some dignity, but it's not great. The Iowa poll was good to give a shot of adrenaline to volunteers, but nobody important believes those numbers are real. Yeah, I don't think anybody believes those numbers are real. I think that most people kind of know what's going on with that poll, right? That is a hopium poll. And you have the paid influencers of the Democrat Party. They're optimistic as a way to make it seem as if there's actual real enthusiasm on the ground, but there's really not, right? And that shows up in the early voting numbers. So again, we know that Democrat influencers are paid. We know that for a fact. So you can't really believe anything they say. And what they're saying is the exact opposite of what we are seeing when it comes to the early voter turnout for Democrats. Of all the swing states, they're hoping Michigan comes through and possibly a late night miracle in PA, but nobody is counting on either of them, which is right in line with where the poll's at right now. Okay, I think Michigan, if there is a state that Kamala Harris can win at this point, it's probably Michigan, right? That's going to be the state she most likely wins if she does pick up a swing state. They don't think Trump is actually going to flip VA or New Hampshire, but the fact that they've even entered the conversation is indicative of how bad things could potentially turn out. The early vote counts are just beyond what they expected to see for Republican turnout and has Democrat strategists rethinking whether it was a good idea to make such a big push to broaden early voting in the first place. Republican low propensity voters are activated in a way nobody really expected, and the polls didn't capture it. Yes, it's possible those early Republicans broke Democrat in an unprecedented way, but it's very unlikely. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see that either, unless it's a bunch of pro-choice women that are voting Democrat. That's the only way that those early voting Republican numbers don't spell disaster for Democrats, right? You got to hope and pray that most of those voters, who are women, by the way, are pro-choice and they're breaking for Kamala Harris, right? That's the hopium here. The campaign has switched entirely to woman versus man messaging, as liberal white women are the only reliable voter bloc they can even identify at this point. Yeah, that's true, because black voters aren't showing up in North Carolina and Georgia, right? This is why I said that this is extremely important. I definitely believe this because this is 100% in line with the data, right? All the data that we have so far with early voting, this is right in line with that. So this is why I think that this is 100% real. I think this is how Democrats actually feel behind closed doors. Priority now is saving some down ballot races and flipping the House so the night isn't a total embarrassment for Democrats. Like I said, take this all with a grain of salt, as this is secondhand information, but this is what I was told, and I think it tracks with other things we know. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, again, this could be a repeat of 2022, and a lot of the copium from Democrats and the hopium is coming from this idea that, oh, well, the red wave didn't happen in 2022, and all of these women turned out and voted in 2022. But people got to understand, it wasn't just women showing out and voted in 2022 right after Roe v. Wade was overturned. So we was in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of Roe v. Wade being overturned, but also GOP turnout was down, right? So you didn't have high GOP turnout. You just had more liberal women that were willing to go out and vote due to Roe v. Wade being overturned. And now we're 2 years into that. I just don't think that that same effect is there, at least not to the same degree that it was right after Roe v. Wade was overturned. So again, I'm seeing a lot of hopium from the leftist talking point citing 2022 as their main reason for why they think that Kamala is underperforming in the polls. And I just don't think it's wise to compare the midterms to a general election. I think they're two different races. I think that the dynamics are different. Trump was not on the ballot in 2022. I think that makes a difference. And I think it's just wiser to compare general elections with general elections and midterms with midterms and not mix the two, because I just think that the dynamics are they're just different, right? In regards to the decision for people to vote, right? A lot of people just sit at home doing midterms. They just don't vote at all. And, I think that's what happened in 2022 with the GOP. And it just so happened that liberal women came out and voted more. And that's why there wasn't a huge red wave. But Republicans still won the 2022 midterms, and liberals tend to forget that. So with what that New York City councilwoman just outlined, right, the way she described the current state of the race from a Democrat that's on the ground, I personally believe that that is how Democrats actually feel behind closed doors. And a lot of what you're seeing in the media right now is just, again, a lot of copium, a lot of hopium, but they all kind of know that it's not looking good for Kamala Harris as of right now. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
All right. Now at the bigger one. The bigger one is Joe Rogan. This man publicly came out and said, hey, I'm going to endorse you guys. So I'm gonna watch the two videos after. I'm gonna watch the right there. I'm gonna watch two videos after by Itzeris and Chibi Reviews talking about Villain Saga.
Don't pop it, patch it. Mighty Patch Pimple Patches absorb gunk overnight. Pimple, meet your Mighty Patch.
I have ads. What the fuck are you talking about?
Go from your 9 to 5 to your 5 to 9 in the redesigned Hyundai Elantra. With cutting-edge...
By the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young?
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really? Yeah. Why do you think that? Because you'll have Putin on?
And you're competitive as fuck. No. I think ultimately, I mean, you've had a lot of people that I think you may otherwise be skeptical. Would I have a good conversation? Which I think is your metric. You don't care about politics, so can I have a good conversation? And I think you had like people like Kanye on, for example, and you had a great conversation with him. I think
yeah, but Kanye's an artist. But Kanye doing well or not doing well doesn't change the course of our country.
Yeah, but do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation?
I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image.
2 years later.
Oh, wow. I have some more big news, Megan. I'm just getting this right now. So somebody that's very, very respected asked me to do his show 2 weeks ago, and I said, why not? And to me, it's very big because he's the biggest there is, I guess, in that world by far. Somebody said the biggest beyond anybody in a long time. And his name is Joe Rogan, and he's never done this before.
Man got fucking Joe Rogan.
And it
That's
just
actually a big
came
feat,
over the
bro.
wires that Joe Rogan just endorsed me.
Black and Silver Perspective is great. Yeah, he's good. I've actually been. Here's the thing. I haven't like. Here's the problem. I only started watching him pretty recently. I think the last time. I think I started watching him like in like September or October, when the fucking when like I think was it September or was it October? I think it was September. I started watching Black and Silver Perspective, but now. I've been watching him a lot recently. I've been watching him daily now. It's like I would say it's part of my routine, but yeah, I watch him daily. So especially with the election coming up, he's doing tons of views and shit like that. So I've been watching him daily. So yeah, Black and Greg Foreman's great. He's very good.
Is that good? Thank you, Joe. That's so nice. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that stuff. And he tends to be a little bit more liberal than some of the people in this room. No, I had a lot of fun, and he was amazing. And it was a 3-hour interview. In fact, I was 2 hours late for a rally that we had. I had explained that a little bit. And it was cold out that night. We flew, but we had to make it. We were more than 2 hours late. And they understood. I said, I just was interviewed by a very interesting guy, and he just kept going on. They called it a long form, and it could have gone a lot longer, but he was great. And he's not a person that does endorsements, but he did an endorsement. So I just want to thank Joe Rogan. That's fantastic.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about President Trump getting what I believe is probably one of his most important endorsements of the presidential campaign season, which is from Joe Rogan. Okay, the day before the election, Joe Rogan went from, well, I really don't like Trump that much, I don't want him on my podcast, to having Trump on his podcast.
He had Trump on the podcast. He got fucking JD Vance on the podcast, and he had Elon. So he had the trio.
Now endorsing Trump, giving a full-throated endorsement to President Trump. After this podcast interview with Elon Musk, in which Elon Musk made a compelling but very simple case to Joe Rogan in regards to why is it that Trump must be elected, because if he's not elected, then we are effed.
Well, I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Yeah, exactly.
Tulsi Gabbard switched over to the Republicans. Yep. Like, there's a lot of people who their whole life they've been left wing, and they realize, like, I can't do this anymore.
You and I used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, man. And if the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states, and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
Has anybody tried to push back?
And I just want to, like, go out and vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote like your future depends on it, because it does. This is the last chance, man.
This is what we're hoping for with this election. This is what we're hoping for with the future, is that people can see we are on a bad path, and something can be done right now, and it might be the only moment in history where.
Again, why do you think Democrats are so eager to make illegal immigrants legal citizens? Because they're gonna feel indebted, because those are legally be indebted to the Democrat Party, and then they're gonna vote, and they're gonna use their vote to vote for them. Why do you think they're saying them in Ohio and shit? They ain't slick.
This is possible, because if they do lock the country down and make it so that voting is kind of bullshit, and you're only voting for primaries, and the people that they put in the primaries, they're controlling that in the first place.
Yep.
You don't really have democracy anymore. You don't really have choice.
Exactly.
You don't really have freedom.
That's right. Yeah, I think freedom is fundamentally at stake in the election tomorrow, and we'll know. I think we'll know by the end of the day tomorrow. I don't think it's going to take. It's not going to be like days after the election. I think we'll know tomorrow.
Are you optimistic?
I'm currently optimistic, but the biggest factor here is that men need to vote. That is the biggest issue. So I don't know what the reason is, but men just vote at a much lower rate than women.
I think it's like 9%, right? Someone just told me that today.
It's a big difference. I'm just like saying this is a message to the men out there: vote like your life depends on it, because I think it does. Vote tomorrow like your life depends on it. Nothing is more important.
I agree.
Yeah, so that is a powerful endorsement from Joe Rogan. And I think a lot of that has to do with Elon Musk. I think a lot of it has to do with these guys that Joe Rogan probably knows pretty well. Okay. I mean, they talked about guys like Chamath and David Sachs and also Tulsi Gabbard. A lot of people who have decided that, you know what, I'm going to come over to the Republican side because of Trump, because Republicans, at least right now, we're on the right side of history, right? I mean, this election really is about freedom, right? It really is. And we're not talking about it in an exaggerated way like Democrats are talking about. It's going to be the end of democracy if Trump wins. Okay, again, that is a complete and total exaggeration. There's no real basis in reality for Democrats and their fear-mongering, right? But when it comes to conservatives, though, I mean, we have actually been on the receiving end of the authoritarianism that Democrats really want in this country, right? I mean, the Democrats, for as much as they want to talk about Trump loving autocracy, again, this is just more projection from them. They're the ones that actually love autocracy. And in this interview, Joe Rogan and Elon Musk actually talked about one of the viral stories that kind of highlight the insanity and the authoritarianism of the Democrats, which is the story about Peanut the squirrel. Now, I haven't really covered the story, but again, it's a viral story that MAGA is rallying around because I think it does represent the authoritarian left, okay, and how their priorities are out of line, okay, and the type of dystopian future that we could be facing in the sense that they don't actually really solve the real problems, right? But they will waste government time and resources going into people's houses and killing their pets, right? Which is what happened in this story that has galvanized a lot of people in this country and reminded them of how crazy the authoritarian left actually is. Take a look.
Somebody killed your squirrel.
Yeah, John Wick.
Yeah, the fucking squirrel thing is bananas.
Yeah,
that squirrel thing in New York.
Thing, so here's the thing about the whole squirrel thing is that how can it be that we live in America, supposedly land of the free, and the government can barge into your home with guns, so if you resist, you're going to get shot, and then take your pets and execute them. And if they can do that to your pets,
I know what he's talking about. There was, I think Moist Critical talked about it. It was Peanuts. I think because he had a raccoon too. I forgot the raccoon's name, but I know the squirrel's name was Peanut, and they euthanized him. And I think they euthanized the raccoon too. Yeah, they did. They euthanized both the pets. They euthanized the raccoon and the squirrel. So yeah, and he had them for years. He had the squirrel for years actually. So these come and barge in, then take your pets, kill them, and then say sorry. Okay, what the fuck?
What do you think they can do to you?
I know that's not an exaggeration.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you're oh, that's so crazy. How can you make that connection? But why would you kill that cute little squirrel that was obviously a pet and trained from the time it was a baby?
Yes.
If you see the interaction that guy has with that squirrel, it was wonderful. It was really cute.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and the problem was that he tried. The problem is that the owner of the squirrel guy's name, I think his name like Joey or something like that, Joseph, I don't know. The problem was that he actually tried years ago to put the squirrel in the wild. He tried to do that, but the problem was the squirrel was not fit to live in the wild anymore, right? So what he did is he took it back in, and then took care of it as a pet. And then for the raccoon, I think he nursed the raccoon back to health actually, and then kept it as a pet. So yeah, it's crazy. They just come barge in, take your pets, kill them, and then no nothing, no apology, no nothing. Just say, oh, my bad, and that's it.
It was just obviously it was a beloved pet squirrel, and a raccoon too, and doing no harm, and the government comes in, barges into the guy's house, takes his pets and kills them, and
because they're trying, because the reason and the excuses they say is like, oh, they're trying to ensure that they didn't have rabies and shit like that, but the guy took care of them and made sure they didn't have rabies, because how you get rabies is from wild animals. You don't just grow rabies out your body. You get it from, you usually, it's passed down. It's not just growing in your body like a cancer or some shit like that.
I think this should really get people out there mobilized.
Fucked up, and they shouldn't have killed that squirrel.
They shouldn't have killed that squirrel. I mean, it's like how many cases have we not heard about?
Oh, look at that little guy. And that squirrel clearly had a love relationship with that guy. He would hop all over him and climb on him. I mean, that was his pet. That squirrel thought of that man as his protector, as his companion. you know. There was nothing wrong with that. And in Texas, it's totally legal. You could have a fucking zebra out here. You could have whatever you want. And that's the argument for freedom.
Yeah, that is the argument for freedom. And I think that story is a reminder of what's at stake in this country, right? If you let authoritarian leftism get too out of control, right, that is the type of story that you're going to see a lot more often than we would all like to see, okay? Because, again, if the government can come in your house and kill your pet, right, with guns out, yeah, that opens up the door to a whole lot of other things that people don't want to see. And we already know, based off what happened during the pandemic, that Democrats are willing to do anything to maintain their power and control, okay? And one of the other things that happened during the pandemic that I think we should really thank Elon Musk for is fighting back against the censorship that came from the government via pressuring social media platforms to censor on their behalf. Elon Musk stepped up and bought Twitter. And ever since then, he has been public enemy number 2 for the Democrats and the establishment. Okay, they tried to bankrupt Twitter. They've tried to boycott Twitter. They've tried to exit.
It's so funny. They try to boycott Twitter, but yet that they always use Twitter. There are so many different editors. You can go on. Go use Instagram or Blue Sky, whatever that fucking site's called. Go use that one, or fucking Threads or whatever, man. Oh, I'm boycotting Twitter. Hop back on Twitter. Like, what? Are you trying to boycott it or not?
This Twitter, none of these things have worked, okay? And Elon Musk has transformed Twitter into X, which is now a free speech platform that I think has done an amazing job at helping.
Okay, there's one thing I don't like the name X. Don't like it. I still call it Twitter. I still call it Twitter because I just hate the name X. It's ugh.
The right push back against the mainstream level media and the establishment narrative, I think, is one of the main reasons why Trump is so strong now, because people can speak freely, again, and push back against the propaganda via X, via Elon Musk's platform. And I think that we should all be thankful for Elon Musk sacrificing his $45 billion to save free speech in this country.
But if it wasn't for you buying that and changing Twitter, I don't think we would be where we're at right now. I think it was a pivotal moment. I think historically, when people look back on it, it's going to be a pivotal moment in this very bizarre fight for the freedom of information.
Firestone. For those who answer the call of the vagabond.
Je ferai de toi mon instrument. Je ne serai jamais ton instrument.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time I said, I think, like, look, I think this is existential to the United States. It's existential to democracy, because if you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have democracy. Okay, because if you don't have freedom of speech, people cannot make an informed vote. If they're just being fed propaganda, and there's no freedom of speech, democracy is an illusion. So freedom of speech is the bedrock of democracy. That's why freedom of speech is the First Amendment. Once you lose freedom of speech, you lose democracy. Game over. That's why I bought Twitter.
Yeah, and that is why the Democrats are against free speech, is because they hate democracy, right? That's the honest to God truth. The Democrats do not want the people to decide anything. This is why they go out of their way to subvert democracy, even in their own primaries. And we've seen them do this over the years. And they're still so upset with Elon Musk for standing up for free speech that they are calling to punish Elon Musk if Kamala Harris wins by having the government essentially take away all their contracts from his amazing companies like Tesla and SpaceX.
Even if Trump doesn't win, the Defense Department and NASA are going to need a new arrangement for all their rockets and for all the multi-billion-dollar contracts Elon Musk's companies have with the U.S. government. The U.S. government is going to have to either, unwind from all of those contracts, or Elon Musk's companies are going to have to unwind from him. This is an untenable reality in national security terms, now that we know what we know about Elon Musk.
And I think, again, it's time to really show the Democrats that their authoritarian regime will not be tolerated in this country, and that people are going to stand up and push back against this. And I think that's what this election really is about more than anything, okay? Reining in the excesses of the left, whether it be the authoritarianism or the identity politics or out of control spending or these foreign wars, the left-wing lunacy when it comes to their assault on crime policies, which have allowed destruction and chaos in these liberal cities, the border being wide open, things like that. Again, that is what this election really is about, okay? It's about common sense and sane people versus people who don't have common sense and aren't very rational or sane, right? I mean, that's what this election comes down to. And, I think, as Elon Musk said, it's going to take men. Men are going to have to step up and to vote in droves tomorrow on election day, especially young men, in order to take our country back. That is what has to happen, right? It has to happen in order to win. And that's why this endorsement from Joe Rogan is so important. I know it's late in the game. I wish he would have done this earlier. However, better late than never. However, never late is better, right? We still have election day. Hopefully, young men are inspired by Joe Rogan to go out there and to vote for Trump. If they weren't already inspired to do so, hopefully this gets them out off the couch. I'm not sure how much of effect this will have, but regardless, I do appreciate Joe Rogan and his endorsement. I am just hoping and praying that the greatest American comeback story in American history ends the right way, which is with men stepping up and saving this country and helping President Trump take back the White House. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Hold on a second.
I am on a higher plane, Charlie. Literally. Win this.
Yeah, thank you. Alright. Well, we'll go watch the last two videos, which is the Villain Saga thing and the fucking, the Reese, hey Reese video, and that's it. We'll end it there. Let's see here. Invincible Fight Girl. Is this new? Never heard of it. Invincible Fight Girl. Oh, it premiered today. No, it premiered to yesterday, actually. Sam Register? Okay. A young girl named Andy living in the wrestling world endeavors to become the best pro wrestler ever and takes on the allies of Fight Girl. Okay. So it's basically a wrestling, it's basically a wrestling show. Okay. I'll probably watch it on my off time. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it while streaming.
You may be seated.
This man, Mr. Bosley, who's standing next to his mother, he slept with his coworker and she had a baby and he doesn't believe the baby is his. The baby name is Maverick and he is here to defend the fact that she has been sleeping with other coworkers on that job. Uh-oh.
Hello, Your Honor.
Jerome's in the house. I say Jerome in the house. Watch your mouth. Miss Jackson has admitted she did cheat on Mr. Bosley within their relationship, but she 100% believes Mr. Bosley is the only father. How old is Miss Jackson? You pull up with this 1980s look about her. She looked like back in her day, she used to be a wild little thundercat.
Well, I opened the case because I feel like my son made a terrible decision by signing a birth certificate.
Why do they be bringing their mother there? The mom can't help you in this situation. She wasn't in that bedroom when you was getting your freaky deaky on. Is his mom his attorney? She here to fight the case? She gonna get him walking home like Thugger? They be bringing their moms on the show like the mom about to play attorney of the year.
You feel like you got to save your son from a mistake he made.
I do.
Your mom can't save you. You
With Google Workspace, apps like Docs, Drive, Gmail, and Meet are connected and in one place, so your whole team can make updates and stay up to date in real time. That's working together with Google Workspace.
signed the birth certificate. You did the freaky deaky nasty. How your mom gonna save you now? Having your mom in the courtroom ain't gonna change nothing. Ain't gonna persuade nobody. What's finna happen now?
I did sign the birth certificate. Not saying it wasn't the right thing. It was stupid because I didn't know her.
So, Miss Jack...
Guilty. I don't even know what she about. I don't even know who she is, but just the face she just made, she looked like she up to no good. She looked like she pulling a wool over his eyes right now. He admitted he shouldn't have signed the birth certificate. Now it's time to hear Miss Jackson's side of this story. I can't focus, bro. I can't focus. I've not been listening to what she been saying since the occupation. They didn't even put the N on it. They said the occupation is a cashier, and the first picture they show is them hugged up in the Walmart smocking
together, and he was starting off like, "Oh, I love you. Do you believe in love at first sight?"
They got a picture of her in the Walmart outfit. Got home from
That's
work and they just
crazy.
instantly start flicking up. Get cozy first. Goddamn, get out the outfit. She in the goddamn work uniform.
So impatient, but.
And then the next day we was talking, and then we had sex.
How you meet him and sleep with him the very next day? These Walmart girls, look at this.
He was talking about the kids and all of that, and then I asked for a break because we were moving too fast. I already said that we was moving too fast at the beginning. At first, I didn't believe it because I heard it once before.
Whoa, what she mean she heard this before? Who told this woman they want a kid by her? How do you meet a guy on your job, sleep with him the very next day, then he start hollering he want kids by you? That's happening all in like, what, a week? What are we talking about?
That's what men will say just to get you to lay down with them.
If he already got her to lay down, why would he need to lie to get her to lay down?
I had my own place at that time, and I moved him in. Then that's when the cheating. I made my mistake of that 2 weeks of me not knowing if this is real or not.
Am I crazy? She moved him in after 2 weeks? He talking about kids? What are we talking? You know this person for 2 weeks. Why are y'all moving in together? Why are y'all talking about building a family? Why are y'all even sleeping together? What is going on this job?
She told me we was at the house chilling, relaxing. One of her ex-boyfriends popped up at the house.
I can't even be mad at the ex-boyfriend for popping up unexpected. He probably think the girl's still single. 2 weeks ago, she was his. Now she married with kids. How you got somebody moved in the house in 2 weeks? Yeah, I can see why he just popped up. He thought he could still slide through and get some. He ain't know you moved in. It's only been 2 weeks.
Popped up at the house.
Popped up.
She went to go talk to him for a little minute or was so. But the whole time I'm looking out the window trying to make sure, ain't nothing going on. At the time I was fine with that because we wasn't really together. We was just.
If y'all not really together, then how you get moved into the house? How y'all talking about starting a family? I can see y'all not really being together. It's been 2 weeks, but y'all don't seem to get that. The judge proceeds to ask Miss Jackson, what do you mean by you made a mistake? Which is alluding to her cheating, so she wants to hear the story of how she cheated.
I had gave oral sex to this person.
Jeez,
And I don't,
And
what?
Jeez, quick to drop the gun, man. Jeez, man.
Man,
he
Your Honor,
says-
what man will believe that she only gave you oral sex?
Oh, trust me, I believe her.
I
She don't
believe
gotta
her.
lie about that. Chat, if y'all don't know, I'm about to put y'all on game. There's girls out here that would tell you, hey, I'm still a virgin. Men have been putting their mouth on that area. They be putting their mouth on men. You could ask a girl when the last time you slept with somebody. They'll tell you, oh, it's been like a couple months. You gotta specify when the last time you gave head, though. They're gonna be like, oh, like last week. They be thinking there's a difference. You literally be having to act specifically because they think there's a difference. I'm telling you, she definitely did that. And only that.
This is exactly why y'all don't have no business, young, running around here, using sex like it's like an extracurricular activity.
2 guys she cheated on me with, those was the guys that we worked together with.
Oh, so all of you all co-workers.
Yes, we all was co-workers.
They all was working at Walmart. Golly, she was moving around the aisles and she ain't even a customer. She was working her way around the store, and we ain't talking about with a shopping cart. I'm telling you, she was bringing items home from the job, but we ain't talking about shopping. This freaky girl, this young lady. Is wild. How you gonna say you made a mistake when you out here putting your mouth on people?
Your Honor, I only cheated on him once.
Okay.
Okay, let's be honest.
That makes it better. It's only one time, Jet. She only cheated once.
And that's with the person that was at work. But I did have sex with one other person that was there at the job.
Look at her. I'm trying not to keep pausing. There's so much going on. The bottom said she claims to only put her mouth on one of the men that she's accused of cheating with. They saying there was 2 men involved, but she only did the nasty with one of them. The other one she put her mouth on. I had no idea there were 2 other men. I just thought it was one man. I thought it was one man we were talking about. No, she slept with one, and the reason she's saying it ain't the other guy because she only put her mouth on him. This is wild.
This is a mess. This is a mess.
Yeah.
How many people you gonna sleep with at the same job? When are you working?
Facts. When are you working, but you spend most of that, you spend most of your shift sleeping around, but.
Asked her when she worked.
Look at her face.
She said, when are you working? She said you ain't going to that job for a paycheck. How you gonna ask her when is she working? I'm losing my mind, bro. This is hilarious.
It just adds up that she has slept with 3 men on her job.
Why is she so mad? I've never seen her yell like this. I've never seen her yell.
Men on her job. There should be no young woman out here.
Look at her face. She embarrassed.
I have to finish this paper. I'm swamped. No one told me college would be so damp.
Just get Grammarly. It's free.
This episode crazy. Look at her, bro. What is she looking at? There's nothing on the floor.
Sleeping with 3 men at her job. And that's why I'm like, what's going on here?
My last menstrual cycle was March 14th. And when I did have oral sex with that person, I was on my menstrual cycle at that time.
That's why she did it, because she would have went the whole way, but she
Yeah.
just couldn't. She would have went the whole way. That's why she telling us this story. Hey, I would have did it with him. It just wasn't that time of the month. I'm telling y'all right now, this girl freaky. This girl wild.
If you have slept with 2 co-workers, given oral sex to one, while you supposedly getting to know Mr. Bosley, no, it's not so.
Why is she making this face What is this face?
Far-fetched that people would also assume that you may have slept with that person or maybe even another person. A beautiful young girl like yourself should be running around here laying around with this many men.
What is going on, man? Why the judge is hating on her? She's trying to get her freak on with the whole job. Let her freak the whole job, Judge. Come on.
Do you look at me when I'm talking to you, Miss Jackson? I'm not saying this to you because I'm angry at you.
You were yelling. How you ain't angry?
I'm saying it to you because I don't know if you have anybody in your life to sit you down and say, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Why is she crying?
Did you grow up with your dad in your life?
That's a crazy first question. That's actually the crazy first question. Did you go for a dad in your life? Damn. You just really jump straight right in, huh?
Fatherless child. She heard she's sleeping with every man on the job, and she said, "Is your father around?" This episode crazy. This episode is insane. I've never seen nothing like this. She said, "Is your father around?" Wow, this is incredible, bro. This judge is hilarious, man.
No.
I'm trying. This is serious. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to laugh. It's just the fact she crying. It's talking about no. Oh my goodness.
He denied me too. And it hurts. It hurts.
Oh, that explains everything. Your papa wasn't around to tell you you should be sleeping around these niggas. Alright, good to know. Damn, she should be a psychologist. Damn,
Social
Judge.
media be telling you stop slut shaming, let these girls have their fun. This episode is the exact. You need to be out here slut shaming. She said,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, shame, bro. Honestly, shame should be around more often, bro. Damn. Body shaming. You gotta freaking, you know, like being fat ain't okay, homie. Being sleeping around ain't okay. Like, I don't know why people think that's a good thing.
"Hey, where's your father?"
Oh, we want. Oh, cause I'm more experienced that way. Fuck, no, you're more used up, man. Jeez.
She just instantly heard she slept with 3 men on the job. Said you can't have a father.
Yeah. And guess what? She was right, cause she said that cause the fucking defendant say no, he denied me too. So yeah, literally she's correct. The judge was correct. The defendant was a fatherless child.
She heard she slept with 3 men on the same job and said, "You ain't got a dad. There's no way." This is insane, bruh. This is funny to me. Now, Mr. Bosley is going to explain what made him think that this child might not be his. He was going through Snapchat one day and he saw that she was texting a man and that man sent her a picture. And when he looked at the picture, he said, "Wait, this man looked like my child."
Just in all honesty.
Look at the picture. This the Snapchat picture. This man is trying to get freaky.
I don't fight for myself. I fight for my team.
Freaky.
I was like, that's not your son. Immediately, because this made me think twice.
Mr. Bosley began screenshotting messages between Mrs. Jackson and the other coworker that she was cheating with. Now they're presenting those messages in court.
See, look.
And it says, "I need some blank."
That got the eggplant emoji and that's the water spout. I don't know what this one in the middle is. Did he screenshot her Snapchat and brought it to court? This is insane. He brought evidence out her phone. What are we watching? You can come this way, babe. Hell yeah. This looks so fake. Who talk like this? Who be talking like this? Hell yeah.
You think this other man is Maverick's biological father?
Possibly.
Well, this other man is here.
Oh, he here.
Jerome, will you please
Jerome. I fucking love Jerome. He's a white man with a very black name. I fucking love Jerome. Come on, man. Bring him up, Jerome. Let's do it, Jerome.
They say Jerome in a house. I said, get him. Look at this freaky man. The judge began to ask this man, what is your relationship with Miss Jackson?
We met through a friend, and then we started talking through social media.
The judge asked, was Miss Jackson interested in getting freaky deaky with you, buddy?
Yes, Your Honor, she was trying to have sex.
So do you believe?
That's not a surprise. Then
Not
she
surprised.
asked, do he believe?
Is she giving neck while being at work? I can imagine. I'm not surprised.
That he is the baby Maverick's actual father.
No, I don't. I just came here to prove that I'm not.
Jerome, I'm ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Pertaining to whether Mr. Bosley or Mr. Green is the father of 3-month-old Maverick Bosley. It has been determined by this court.
Yeah?
The biological father is Mr. Bosley.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they expect.
But that still is justified. That still doesn't justify the cheating, though. That still does not justify the cheating. Separate from her, take care of the child, stay away from her. That's all I gotta say. That does not justify the cheating.
Thank you.
That is your son.
Yeah.
With Google Workspace, you can get any job done on your phone. From giving feedback
That still don't justify shit. Yeah,
to
sure, that's
attending
my
meetings.
kid, but you still cheated on me, bro. We splitting up. You giving neck in the fucking Walmart bathroom? Nah, we leaving, homie. Okay. We'll end it off with the freaking. Oh yeah, I have this video. We're gonna watch it tomorrow. Not tomorrow. We're gonna watch it on Thursday.
Vinland Saga is officially coming to an end in just a few more chapters. A series that has stroked the hearts of many and has even given us one of the most iconic lines of all of manga history, I have no enemies. It is a series that honestly you could sit down and you can really analyze it, and there's a lot of life lessons to learn from its writing. And it's one of the reasons why it's such a cult classic. It's one of the reasons why that so many people love Vinland Saga. And you accompany that with a very gorgeous and thought-provoking anime. It has just everything in line set for just an absolute victory. For people to really understand just how amazing Vinland Saga is. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The point is that earlier today, there was an article that came out by Anime Corner that, basically was interviewing the man himself, the author behind Vinland Saga, and this interview pretty much says that the series will be coming to an end in just a few more chapters. However, there is something that I do need to talk about and make sure we're all on the same page. This information that we got with this interview is not necessarily new news, and hear me out. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like a lot of people today, this is the first time they're hearing about this. I mean, just looking at, like, everybody that's talking about it, and just how many, anime news accounts and stuff is commenting on this, how I'm even making a video on it, it's clear that a lot of people are completely unaware that Vinland Saga is coming to an end. I heard about it a while ago that Vinland Saga was in its final arc. I just didn't know it was as close as it is currently, because I'm not currently up to date with the Vinland Saga manga. I'm a little bit behind. But getting into the main point, though, is that Vinland Saga, it being in its final arc and final stretches, like final chapters, has been well documented and known about. One post from just 2 months ago, you have someone on the Reddit of Vinland Saga actually directly talking about this, that the author of Vinland Saga made a post on social media X, and it's like, yeah, the final chapter, final episode is coming soon. Please make sure to watch it. Basically implying that, yes, the final moments of Vinland Saga is quickly approaching, and there's really just not many more chapters left. I mean, I believe at this current time period, we're about 60 or 70% through the current volume of Vinland Saga, and so factoring in just how long chapters are and all that, potentially the series is either going to wrap up this volume or it's going to wrap up next volume. So that's at the very least what I can gather from this information. So this news kind of coming out of nowhere isn't necessarily something that's true. Yes, it's very clear to me that not a lot of people were aware that Vinland Saga was in its final stretches, but obviously now pretty much the entire anime and manga community is currently aware of it. So let's get into that fact. Vinland Saga wrapping up and coming to an end. Well, it's going to be a sad moment.
I mean, Vinland Saga has been going for a long time, actually. Like, if I remember, I think Vinland Saga... Hold on. Let me check. I want to check how Vinland Saga has been going, how long Vinland Saga has been running. Hold on, let me check. Because I think Vinland Saga has been running since, like, a long time. Give me a moment. Not. Give me a moment. Vinland. Nice spelling it right. Vinland Saga. The manga. 2005. Holy shit. Damn, it's been since 2005? And we got an anime like 14 years later? Jeez, man. That's crazy.
It's gonna be sad, but also joyous, because Vinland Saga legitimately has a fantastic journey, and I mean, this interview that Anime Corner did, it's a very good interview, actually. I really recommend you guys, if you're wanting to dive into the psyche and the mind of the author of Vinland Saga, I do recommend you to read this interview. It does ask some good questions. It talks about kind of the depth and, like, why certain characters were written the way they were, and why some action was done the way it was. It's a very good article. And a good interview, honestly. Very well made, and definitely better than what I've seen from, let's say, Anime News Network's equivalent. So, just good job on anyone that participated in this interview for Anime Corner. But let's get into the main meat of the discussion. So basically, in this interview, one of the big highlights that everybody's going to take away is obviously that, yes, the author admits that the series is going to be approaching its final chapter very soon, and also talks about the reason of "I have no enemies," a very iconic line, and just how viral it is and how many memes are behind it, that the author was just kind of unaware of just how memey it was at this point. So that's kind of interesting. I like seeing these questions asked. But anyways, it's a very thought-provoking interview that honestly, my words talking about it will not do it justice. I highly recommend you guys to sit down and read it. It's really good. But, anyways, the main point is that interview pretty much allowed everybody to come to terms with, yes, Vinland Saga is ending, and we're about to live in a world to where it's gonna be gone. And it's like one of those series that's always been held as like one of the big greats, kind of alongside of like Vagabond and Berserk. And seeing like basically one of the big dark shonen, or not dark shonen, I don't know why I said shonen, forgive me, dark seinen. I know there's gonna be a lot of people mad with the way I just said there. You know what, I'm not even gonna edit it out, because I deserve you guys to be upset when we say dark shonen. Anyways, it's one of those, like, very dark seinen series that a lot of people recognize. It's iconic. It's been going on for decades at this point, and so to see it finally reaching its conclusion, it's gonna be a very sad day. A happy day if it's a very good conclusion, and I am dead certain it's gonna be a good conclusion, but it's still gonna be sad to see such a legendary series finally have its final chapter written, and the book finally closes on top, and that is the end for the series. It's gonna be sad. But, I do think that it's crazy that in 2024, there's just been so many conclusions to just some iconic stuff. I mean, obviously, Vinland Saga has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah, I think this year, okay, for this year alone, I think MHA ended. I know MHA ended, I know, JJK ended, and now Vinland Saga's ending. I'm pretty sure there's other anime that ended recently. I just don't remember which ones, but I'm just naming the most popular ones so far.
A long time, 2+ decades at this point, but it's still crazy just how much has ended this year. Like, just very big iconic stories, just like Nagatoro to My Hero
Yeah,
Academia.
Naruto ended this year. Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, and then now this. It's just like, there's some big series that legitimately are staples in anime and manga culture that have, like, come to a close, so to speak, this year. And seeing Vinland Saga potentially about to join the rankings of that is not something I honestly expected going into this year. This year continuously surprises me with its different announcements and stuff that keeps coming out, because Vinland Saga is something that has remained very consistent and high quality for years at this point, decades even, and I'm glad to see that it's not going out on a very bad note. A lot of fans just straight up agree that it's very well written, and there really is next to nothing really wrong with it, and I just don't see how the final chapters could even mess up as well, because it's just so well written. The author clearly takes their time and dedication to their craft to make it as best as possible. So yeah, to make a long story short, Vinland Saga is wrapping up. This is technically old news that people have known about for months, but like I said, it's spreading like wildfire right now in the anime and manga community, and now people are becoming aware that it's coming to an end. So I wanted to talk about it to...
Alrighty. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. It's time to wrap it up. I'm kinda tired. It's like 1:30 now. I'm gonna end it up here. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for coming. I might stream... I might stream tomorrow, like a midnight stream, watching some anime on Twitch. But don't take that as promise. I probably will stream on Thursday. That's probably more confirmed than last time. But as for Wednesday, for Wednesday, I might do an early stream, like an afternoon, noon afternoon stream, since I don't have a school. I work in the evening, so maybe I'll stream in Wednesday. But again, don't take it as gospel. Don't take it as truthful. It's been 3 hours. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for coming. And in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.